All right, welcome, everybody. Just a quick overview again. My name's Edward Pereira. I'm joined by my co-host and friend, Mr. Attila Hevesi. Crypto Casey is in the house,
Yay!
Yay,
and
let's
and
go.
All right.
and
Woo!
and, and our resident genius and smart water drinker, Mr. Ed Barsano, joins us. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure for those newcomers. Put your seatbelt on, shoulder straps, hold yourself in because we're going to take you on a ride. This is an educational platform. This has become a family. For those of you that have that are joining us again and on a regular, you're welcome to. Everybody's welcome to join us whenever you feel like. I'm going to bring up an expectation slide, and then I'm going to hand it over to my co-host, and we'll get busy. So all right, can everybody see my slide? Nod your head
Yes,
if
yes.
you do. All right, so expectations for today. It's about approximate 45-minute overview and presentation. You're going to see a real live trader. You're gonna understand what the background is, why it is light years ahead and different from anything else in the marketplace. Then we're going to shift to about a 45-minute to an hour Q&A, unless you get Mr. Barsano talking about marital therapy, then we may be a little bit longer. You're going to see what I call, and I think we've adopted as the $1 billion report, and we'll show you why. You'll understand exactly what making money in your sleep 24/7, 366 means, because it doesn't take that day off either. You'll understand why there's nothing better or nothing better or nothing like, as I said before, GoBabyTrade in the whole world. We're going to show you differentiations, and if you haven't seen it, mind-boggling. I can tell you up front, what we've experienced over the almost year now is that the only people that are critical and skeptical about the trader is the ones that don't own it. You'll get a chance to ask Crypto Casey direct questions. You'll get a chance to ask Mr. Barsano, the genius behind the scenes, and you'll understand that it doesn't take any skills. You don't need to know anything about blockchain. You barely need to know how to spell crypto. And I always goof it up. I always put the Y before the R. So even me, I can make this thing work. So you're going to understand that it will literally, if you allow it, to automate part of your financial life. I draw you to the red down the bottom. I normally don't start with this, but don't hold us, don't sue us for anything, because everything we're going to show and tell is for informational, educational purposes only. Nothing that we say today should be intended or considered to be financial, legal, or tax advice, nor any guarantees of return or performance are made. Again, with Mr. Barsano, he is a marriage counselor on the side. Be happy to address that at the end. But with that, I will gladly hand the baton to Mr. Attila Hevesi and ready to go. I'm feeling the energy that this is going to be the big deal. Thank you again, Casey. Thank you, Mr. Barsano, and away we go.
Great job, Edward. Thank you, and thank you to everyone for being here today. You're smart for being here, because this can be a big game changer for your financial life. And there's a saying out there: do you base your financial or business opportunity decisions on solid facts or false assumptions? All we do is ask people is to listen carefully, watch what you're going to see on the screen, and get the facts. That's all you could do. That's all I could do when I'm looking at something. And I've been at this. Just a little bit about my background. I've been full time in the blockchain world, crypto world, and DeFi, AI, NFTs, all that stuff, deep in real world assets since September 2020. Full time. This is all I do. So it's not a job. It's really like a hobby. But I will tell you this, that we are so early on the precipice of a digital money revolution here, the likes of which has not been seen in over a couple hundred years. Think about it. The financial systems have not changed in a couple hundred years. I mean, it's insane. It's changing right now as we sit here with these technologies that we're talking about. Now, there's three groups of people. What's important for you to know is there's three groups of people, and that's why you're all here. Some of you may be in one of the other groups, but the first group are people that know nothing about crypto, and they have no time to learn anything, or blockchain, or when I say digital money revolution, or I say crypto, I mean the whole enchilada, all aspects of it. Then there's people like myself who took it upon themselves, and Crypto Casey and Edward, to learn this space and read and research and do our homework. And we build a crypto portfolio and then use technologies like the one we're going to speak about today. But the biggest group is the one in the middle. And those are the people that say, I've heard of that Bitcoin. I've heard of blockchain, not exactly sure what it does. How do I take my hand, put it into the cookie jar, and extract all that money for me and my family? And that's what we're going to explain today. But the best part is you'll be able to do that literally without doing a darn thing other than your initial decision to move forward and buy the license. After that, you don't need to do a darn thing. It is literally set it and forget it. I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. So let me tell you a little story about how I met Mr. Barsano back in 2012. He has an interesting background. After high school, he found himself in the Navy. I'm sure that wasn't an accident. He went in the Navy. And
Yeah, there was no draft.
yeah. So they gave him two choices. You could deliver mail or you could learn how to program. And thankfully
And like an idiot, I chose programming.
but thank goodness for that fateful day, because we're all here because of it. And you became quite a rock star at Microsoft. He was one of the first 300 people hired at Microsoft back in the mid 1980s. Now, folks, that's when Microsoft was boom, going ballistic, just vertical. And he spearheaded a lot of different projects there that were new and that many people worldwide, used over the years, and retired a young man in the mid 1990s. And he was bored and he got into the stock market investing game. And in 2020, he got a punch to the gut with losing a lot of his net worth in the stock market crash of 2000. So he literally said they're screwing with the wrong guy, because I got time, I got the programming knowledge, and what I'm getting, listen carefully, folks, because this is the key. He said, I'm going to level the playing field whereby anybody, the average person, will be able to not gamble, but make money using this technology. I'm going to create it. And that's what he did. He developed the first, for the consumers, the very first, world's very first, fully robotic autonomous stock market trader. So get this. On Monday, after programming it for an hour, hour and a half, it was downloadable software back then. It's not anymore, but back then it was. It was a little cumbersome. But once you did that, it literally turned itself on 30 minutes before the stock market opened on Monday morning, traded for you all day, taking profits, buying more lots of stocks or shares of stocks at a lower price when it went down. And it did this 5 days a week, 6 hours a day while the markets were open, 100% unattended, meaning you didn't have to be in front of a screen. You didn't have to do anything except that initial setup. So he had great success with that. I met him in 2012 through a mutual introduction. I bought the trader. It worked tremendously for me. We actually helped Ed market this a little bit back then in the day. We actually, broke bread and flew on airplanes. We did meetings. It was a lot of fun. We had a blast. But here's what happened. Partnerships are tough. And he had some partners that were not as ethical as they should have been. So he said, you know what? I want to protect my brand. I'm going back to being my own solo entrepreneur and keep marketing it the way I did from 2000 to 2012. And he did that very successfully. And in 2019, he sold out to a hedge fund that actually had purchased many, many licenses from him in the past. Now, this is where the story takes an interesting twist. March of 2024, I had a little bit of a rough day at the office. I was frustrated. I said to myself, I've got a good crypto portfolio that's going to be good to me here soon. I'm comfortable with that. I love this space, but I'm a cash flow guy. How do I just keep my my crypto earning more crypto on itself. I subscribe to the Warren Buffett theory. Warren Buffett said, if your money's not making money for you while you sleep, you're going to work till you die. And I believe that wholeheartedly, because you can only work so hard. Then what? You put your money in a bank and you get 1%, 2% a year. Inflation's 5 to 7. It's a joke. It's like a bad joke. So what do? Well, I was frustrated, and it took me about 24 hours, but one day later it came to me. I said, oh my gosh, I forgot about my friend Ed Barsano. We lost touch. And I said to myself, I'll bet somewhere along the line he developed a robotic autonomous trader for the crypto markets. It's only natural, right? So I had his phone number still in my phone. I did track him down. We spoke and we connected and we spoke for 3 hours, sharing a lot of stories, a lot of memories, and he updated me on what he had done with the crypto trader. And he said this to me, and I'll never forget the next few minutes of our conversation. He said, Attila, when I turned this thing on in April of 2021, I discovered immediately, not only am I done with stocks, but this is light years. The crypto trader is light years ahead of where the stock trader had the capability of going. And I said, why is that? He said, 4 reasons. Number one, stocks trade 5 days a week, 6 hours a day. Crypto's 24/7. Number two, you need volatility. You need that up and down wiggle action. The wiggle, 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 up and down, up and down. If you don't have volatility in any trading, whether it's crypto, stocks, Forex, precious metals, you're not going to make money. He said, Attila, you know, there's no asset class on planet Earth with more volatility than crypto. I said, yeah, you're right. And then he said, guess what? Number 3, it's not downloadable software anymore. I said, what is it then? He said, I made it web-based where I could have you trading live in 10 minutes or less. I said, let's do it. I literally bought the license on the spot. Now, there is the capability for anybody to trade in paper trading or simulation mode. But since I owned the stock trader in 2012, I already knew the power of the trader. So I went live right away with just under $10,000. And just like he said, in about 8-9 minutes, I was connected to my Coinbase account and I was live. The fourth thing is what really just solidified everything for me in my own mind. He said, Attila, I created an API connection where this trader automatically connects to your own Coinbase or Kraken accounts. So you control your crypto 1,000% of the time. Now, let me tell you why this hit home for me. I'm embarrassed to say, in the last 4.5 years, I've lost over $100,000 in various blockchain / crypto cash flow projects. My fault, and I knew going in, I was going to lose some money. I knew I was a guinea pig. I knew it was a newer nascent space, asset class. So I was ready to, take my licks, but I didn't expect to lose that much. Now, I've made a lot more, don't get me wrong, but
Well, you didn't expect to get scammed is really what you're saying.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but why did I get scammed, Ed? That's the $64,000 question, and the answer to that is I didn't control my crypto. When things went south, I couldn't get to my crypto because it was on a third-party wallet or exchange. Whereas here, GoBabyTrade nor Mr. Barsano can touch your funds. They just send the buy and the sell signals to your exchange. So I said, Ed, that's genius. We got to get the word out on this to the world, really. So let me just end my little section here before I make some introductions with the following 2 things. Number one, I can't think of a better way to give the big problem in the marketplace and in our lives, I think, is your money is basically unemployed. Think about it. I mean, TradFi, which is traditional finance, is such a dinosaur that if a financial planner came to me and said, Attila, I could give you 8% a year on your money, and I'm not putting down financial planners, I used to be one, okay? But that's like, again, it's like a bad joke. It's like 8% a year. I could get that weekly, monthly in crypto easily in this space. It's not even a secret of how to do it. So what I'm saying is most people work hard, but their money's unemployed. It's not earning anything on itself. So the easiest way to give your money a job, and our duty really as individual citizens, I believe, to our families and to ourselves, is to give our money a job. There's no better way to give your money a job than to multiply itself through something that you don't have to spend any time on. It's literally set it and forget it, which I'll cover in a moment. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, I'll end it with this. Please understand and realize what this man has created. Like I said earlier, he's leveled the playing field whereby, without being an accredited investor, without knowing anything about crypto, without knowing anything about trading, without really knowing even much about computers, you could now use this kind of a technology to make money while you sleep. Folks, think about that. That's never been done before. It's never been done before.
Crazy.
Okay, so we got a real tiger by the tail here. We're blessed. And I want to take the opportunity now to invite and first thank, of course, Ed Barsano for joining us again. But Crypto Casey, we're so glad to see you here. And you made a last minute decision based on an amazing video you put out just 24 to 48 hours ago. You said, you know what? I just put this out. This needs to be talked about. I want to be on Wednesday, and we appreciate that so much. So I have a question for you, Casey. Do you want to go through some of the original questions you had for Ed when you were looking at this a year ago, or do you want to go right into the DCA questions that came up through your video, or how do you want to handle it? It's your call.
All right, thanks, and appreciate everybody for being here. I just want to say, so everything that you just heard, what's funny is one of my friends had met Edward at an event that's completely unrelated to blockchain and crypto.
Yep.
And they were talking about their background, and Edward had mentioned that he was in blockchain, like, hey, you need to meet my friend Casey. And so, I meet up with Edward and Attila, and they give me this spiel. I'm like, this is a scam. Okay, but it's part of my job. It was like, it's part of my job to pretty much try out every service and product in crypto to figure out, what's good and what's bad. Like, I'm the guinea pig, and then I like to tell people what is, I think is safe and good and interesting. So I tried it. I got it, I think, last January, and then I didn't make the video until August, and I knew I was going to get a lot of flack, and I did. It was probably like the worst negative comments down, video, but, here I saw what it did, living proof. I still use it. It's been a year and a half now. And now, like I did in the other video, I kind of explained I'm using it to DCA into Bitcoin now without having to figure out when I want to buy it. And yeah, so here we are now. And I
So glad we made a good impression on you, Casey.
Yeah. So
first meeting.
So here's what's funny. I bought it $4,500 myself and just tried it out without
us knowing.
I didn't even tell him I bought it. I just did it.
No, we didn't know. We didn't know.
So I started using it and I was interested. So then I got to meet Ed, the creator, who's here with us now. And I had a lot of questions to ask him before I was comfortable exposing it to my audience. So we can go through those questions.
Your call.
Sure.
You could go through some of them. You could go through all of them. Or
I'm only a little nervous. Don't worry.
He's answered them a few times. So my first question was, is it open source? If not, why? And he has a pretty good response.
And well, there's way too much code. I'm not sure the answer I gave you then, but there's way too much for it to be open source. Just for other people to be able to program into it, to add things, no. I've been working on doing this code for 25 years. It works in the stock market, it works in the crypto market. And when you say open source, that means other people being able to attach it to their trading systems, and then we all go down with the ship. No, I don't. I learned my lesson with the old system that had 10 screens of things you could do to destroy yourself. And I wouldn't want to attach to that. I would not want to attach this trader to the old trader. I want my auto trader to crank out money like crazy with nothing, with no interference. So it's not open source,
Yeah,
but it's so easy to connect to, to use.
Hey,
absolutely.
Casey, if you don't
Yeah.
mind, before you go into your next question, I just want to remind all of our attendees today that Edward, my business partner, will be posting Crypto Casey's link where you are entitled to spend $1,000 less than she did on the trader, and you could purchase the 3-year license for $34.99, not $44.99. Because when you go to directly to Ed Barsano's GoBabyTrade, you'll see it's $44.99. So that link will be in the chat, but also Edward and I are the educational and support mechanism for Crypto Casey in this endeavor related to GoBabyTrade. So we have 2 support emails you will also see in the chat. When you buy the license and let's say you need help going live, you need help with the API connection, the instructions are right there on the trader. When you hit Kraken or Coinbase to connect, there's a blue button that says instructions. If you read them, you could do it, but some people get stuck. I understand. You could contact us anytime. If we need to do a Zoom, we'll do a Zoom, but questions are popping up right now, Casey, in the chat. So I just want to get that in before you ask your next question.
Yeah, Katarina, actually, and I apologize, Casey.
Oh, go ahead.
Katarina piped in and said she's just a little nervous about getting connected. I just wrote her back, and everybody can see it. Is that you're not alone? Like I said, we're a family. You're actually joining people of like mind that don't mind leveling the playing field and taking advantage of everything that Mr. Barsano has done. So don't think that you are out on a limb. You push go, purchase, whatever the case may be, and it's going to be thanks, see you. No, you're part of you're part of a community, and we want it that way. That's why you see a lot of returning guests, and we really do appreciate that. I mean, it gives us a warm feeling that you trust us, you believe us. The story that Crypto Casey just talked about. We didn't ask her about the trader. We just told her the story, and she went out and did her own investigation, which is a true testament of the fact that she is number one about protecting her audience and making sure that she does the due diligence. She has a reputation. Everybody that is here has a reputation, and there's a trust factor. So long way to say again that you're never left in the dark. I just posted not only Crypto Casey's discount link, but the 2 individual emails. Whatever questions you have, whatever help you need, all you have to do is let us know. So with that, thanks, Casey.
So what's funny is most of the questions I had were extremely technological. I don't know if anybody's super interested in that. So if people post in the question thing, and we can just tangent off of those. But the next question I had were, how secure are the servers that handle the trading product? Worst case scenario, if the servers are hacked, or would anybody have access to funds?
They would really be in deep doo-doo. No, I'm kidding. No, I've been doing this 25 years. And you know what? When you think about your servers being hacked, before you even, I don't know what people are worried about, a very small thing. Because servers crash on their own. You don't need to be hacked. Just like light bulbs go out, they go out, then the difference is when a light bulb goes out, there's nothing to pick up to bring light, whereas when one of our servers goes out, another server just picks up the workload automatically. So I have no fear of being hacked. I laugh at them. I laugh at these what do they call it? The ransomware attacks, that kind of things. I actually got a ransomware not on my servers because they can't get to the servers, but on my personal computer. Do you believe that?
Wow.
And it's no big deal. I got laptops laying all over this place, man. It's like, well, toss that one over there. Here's another one, and and I have a hard drive that I back up all the time, and I just stuck it in there, do a quick restore to my email, and I'm back up. It's there's nobody could get to the servers if they wanted to. Actually, you're going to get a demonstration of that right in it when I connect. I'm going to show you something
Cool.
on that order.
Yeah, and what's funny is like the other questions I had were, is it backed up? Are the servers in decentralized locations submitted to negate those risks? He kind of just addressed that. And then I also asked, has the how many like users can the servers handle? Is it easy to scale? Has it ever had any downtime?
Well, you know, if we're talking about the crypto space, no, we've never had downtime. But if you want to talk about the stock space, when I first started, I went through a lot of lumps for 25 years. I went through those lumps already. When a server would crash, you know, what do you do? Uh-oh. I didn't have all the stuff over, in the beginning that I have now. But when you work on something, look, I've been working on this longer than you've been even probably born, more than likely. I've been doing this 25 years, it sounds insane, man. It's like a lifetime. It's crazy. But when you do something every day for 25 years and you really sink into it, and that's one of the advantages I had retiring at 39 and not having I could do whatever I want, so I could really dig into one thing and nobody could say no. And believe me, people said, stop, you're wrong. That stuff doesn't work. It's I heard all the negative stuff, and you hear it even today. If that was real, there'd be no crypto market if it was that easy. And I'm like, what are you talking about easy? Oh, it's easy for you to plug into it, to run it. But it wasn't easy for me to develop it. I spent 25 years developing it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure I answered your question.
I think you did. Just going through the other questions I had technologically.
She was grilling me. I felt like I was in an interview.
Well,
Yeah.
these are the things that I'm not an expert at. So it's like, all right, are there regulatory risks with Coinbase
Oh, yeah.
cracking API parameters that would make the product obsolete at any point?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, I've been automating the stock market now for 25 years. If there were going to be regulatory risks, that's where they would be. The crypto space is wide open, and there aren't any, because I don't ever touch your money or your coins. The auto trader has no access to anything you have. It's all sitting in your Coinbase or your Kraken account. The auto trader can only talk to them and say, buy this, sell this, buy this, sell this. They don't, even the exchange doesn't know what you're doing. And I'm not violating any laws. You could be, people use Excel to do things. What tools do you use now without GoBabyTrade? A lot of people use different tools to decide what to buy and sell. Maybe the difference is the software decides what to buy and sell, but then it actually sends the order. It tells Coinbase or Kraken, buy the stock, or buy this coin and buy this much of it, and at what price. It's completely autonomous. The software does it all. But there are no regulatory risks. I've never run into anything in 25 years where somebody said this is illegal. And I've had people in regulatory positions using my auto trader. So I don't think there's any risk of I'm not doing it. The Coinbase and Kraken actually create the API that allows me to connect. So there surely couldn't be a risk there. They're telling me, here, you're allowed, use this to send orders. They actually created it.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's not,
That's cool.
I'm not secretly going in the back door. That's why I haven't, even in the stock market, that's why I have not automated Robinhood. Because I could write the code to actually trade through Robinhood, but they won't sanction it. They refused to write it, so I wrote it. But I won't but I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna I won't, for 20 years, I refuse to release it to the public because they have to sanction it. You know, Robinhood has to say, this is okay, you can use that. But they won't do it. They won't write their own. I don't know why.
Huh. Interesting. Well, another question I had were if there are major price drops and high trading volume, can orders get blown through? Have you had, you know, times where Kraken or Coinbase weren't able to, you know, handle your product?
Well, you know, that happened on January 27th when Alchemy Pay, ACH. That's one of my staples. I call that my staples, these a coin, Alchemy Pay, ACH. I say I will trade that till I die. So that means more than likely almost every one of our clients owns that coin. So on January 27th, Alchemy Pay went from 2 cents to 5 cents overnight. So that meant the auto trader sent tens of thousands of orders all at once to Coinbase and Kraken. I couldn't even believe it. I'm like, they're gonna crash for sure, man. How can they? I really would question that they could do that. But they handled it. I could not believe it. They sucked up those orders, all those sells, and then in the middle of the sells, while the coins were going higher, they were also doing little pullbacks. So we were sending buy orders too. The auto traders were sending buy orders and sell orders, and it was just crazy. And it was the most beautiful thing you ever saw. Now I admit, Kraken had a little bit. They had a little trouble, but they filled all the orders. But they were like an hour behind. They just couldn't. I think they were filling them, but they weren't able to just give us the news that they were filling them. So we're like, hey, I'm gonna hold on. I mean, we don't, until I see that they fill the order, until the software sees that it filled, it can't say that it was filled. But if you logged into your Kraken account, you could see that it was filled. So they were filling the orders. I mean, it was, I expected that. But Coinbase was amazing. I was just very surprised. I mean, I was afraid. I was gonna say I was just scared, but but I was afraid that I'm like, oh my God, there's too many orders going by. I'm looking at the back end and I'm like, holy crap, there's thousands of orders, and they were filling them. They were really good. I was very impressed with them.
Well, Ed, that's a great test for when we actually see a bull market. Your trader has been operating in a bear market and defying gravity. When the market very soon, I think, goes parabolic, you're gonna see a whole bunch of that same action. So I'm glad that it weathered the test.
Awesome. I have like three more points and then we'll get into the trader. So one of them was, I was like, hey, if a lot of people start using artificial intelligence, maybe even your product, I mean, are we going to lose like arbitrage opportunities or any kind of opportunities to make profit or,
No, what's happening is, even though you have AI out there, right? Like ChatGPT and OpenAI, they're all using it wrong. I hate to say that. I've been using AI since programming AI since '89. And I
yeah, I
can
think a
tell
lot of people don't realize that AI has been programmed since the 80s. We're just now,
since
it's a buzzword,
55,
but
actually.
that's, yeah.
Since 1955, actually, but
Oh.
nobody had computers. You would have had to use mainframes, but I started using it in '89 at Microsoft, and they sent me to class for it. Yeah, they gave me a couple weeks. Thanks, Ed. Go out there. You're on now. Your butt's on fire now. You got 2 weeks to learn this. I was in there with McDonald's. They were trying to use it for traffic patterns to figure out where to build the next McDonald's. And the big joke was Burger King builds theirs right across the street from McDonald's without doing any work. But anyways, they're using it all wrong. I've been watching how they're using it, and they're using it the way they trade. They're actually trying to say that they can predict what a coin's going to do the next day, that kind of stuff. So they're all wrong. deep learning can't do that. Pattern recognition can't predict what a coin's going to do the next day. I mean, that's reality. And so, our AI, the two AIs I wrote, are good for about 20 to 30 minutes. The AI can say a coin's going to go higher in the next 20 or 30 minutes, or it's going to go lower in the next 20 or 30 minutes. And so the arbitrage is always going to be there. There's millions of people trading and out there, and the prices are all over the place. Plus, you have the fear factor, which is amazing, and it's actually a really big deal because I get the phone calls, a lot, often. People are freaking out. When the market starts going down, the opportunities to buy at lower prices are just off the map. It's just crazy. I mean, I talk people out of it. I'm like, the biggest money you're going to make is what you buy at the bottom. Don't stop from buying at the bottom. People freak out and they don't want to buy at the bottom. And they're like, it's going down, I don't want to buy. I'm like, no, that's when you want to buy. So I think the arbitrage opportunities are always going to be there. And there's millions of people that really have no idea what they're doing at all. I mean, if really, I don't want to brag, but if you're not using a GoBabyTrade auto trader, then they're all going in at the wrong times. Even with the dollar cost averaging, they're going in at the wrong times. If you're doing it manually, they're putting in the wrong amounts. They're buying at the wrong times. As opposed to with the auto trader, with the math that it's doing, you're putting in the right amount at the right time. You're not
Also, I think this would be a
heavy
good
at the
time to
top.
segue into. So the first time that I came live on one of these, you had told us about the layer 2 screen, the layer 2 data,
The level 2 data, yes.
and the prop houses. Because what's interesting is
Oh.
I had never heard of this until that, which was a couple months ago, and did some research, and it's absolutely a thing. Can you just explain to the audience, like whenever you first went to a prop house, whenever you were, trying to get some data,
Oh, yeah.
and how it works?
I
Because
love it.
it's crazy.
See,
It's
you can't
completely
pay for
manipulated.
I've always said, I've been saying for years, you can't pay for the education I got. And, right, the first thing when I decided to automate the market, I needed high-speed internet in order to get the data. But I couldn't get that from my house. So I started going out to the arbitrage houses, trading houses. They're called prop houses with all these professional traders. And so I was sucking down data. Boy, I'm admitting to stealing their data. But, I was sucking down data on my laptop just to be able to get the high-speed data. And everybody in there had the level 2 data on their screens. And I'm like, wow, that's all they're using to trade. And I bought some Microsoft, and somebody out there, and I'm very vocal, as most of you know. And I said, I bought some Microsoft, and I said, how do I know when to sell that? And a guy walked over to my right shoulder here, and he pointed at the screen. He said, sell it right under that guy. I said, no way. No way, man. Are you kidding me? So somebody, all these people floating your limit orders, those are limit orders. That's what the level 2 screen is. They're putting their limit orders out in public view, and the professional traders are literally trading based on that, on your order. So the first thing I said with my auto traders is, I'm hiding all the level 2 data. I'm not going to float any orders publicly. I will track it internally in my code. So nobody knows what you're doing. You're literally invisible. I can show you a picture of that now if you like. I actually,
Yeah, Ed,
because of our,
we had a conversation last night where you're like, people keep asking about this level 2 data. And it's bizarre. Nobody knew it existed, right? And then so you're talking about potentially upgrading to give people access to that, whoever wants to.
All right. Right.
Yeah,
on
go
the-
through the trader and stuff. I mean, the other thing I was just gonna say was, obviously whenever we leave funds on exchanges, that's a risk. But yeah, I mean,
Oh, without a
if
doubt.
Coinbase went down, we have a major problem. JP Morgan's probably down too, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've got clients all over the world, over 40 countries we have clients.
Well, what
What
I
am
like
I
about it
doing
is
here?
Coinbase
Why
has
am
a
I
lot of
doing this?
institutional players that already
Oh, I
custody their
see.
crypto.
Oh yeah, they're pretty much, if they had a problem, there's a lot of other problems that are probably worse.
All right. Yeah. If Coinbase went down, well, brokers, they have issues, believe me. But, that's the thing. When you've been doing it as long as I have, the auto trader handles a lot of their issues. Like they'll send partial orders, and I mean, there's a lot of chaos going on in the background. And that's why I don't believe there are really any other auto traders out there, any true, fully robotic traders, because I know what it takes to create it. So what I created here was this L2 here, level 2, links I put next to each coin. And if you click it, this is the level 2 screen.
Wow.
And the prices are going by pretty fast, but I'm going to go ahead and just freeze it. I can just click it and stop it. Okay. So what's happening here is this. Normally you trade, say I trade in ACH. I'm used to buying 300,000 shares. Okay. Well, or if I want to sell 300,000 shares, or let's say buy here, I want to buy 300,000 shares. Well, the best bid price is right here, but that's only offering that price for 11,000 shares. So if I want to buy that coin, or if I want to sell my coins, I can only get that price for 11,000 shares. But now, so that means this is going to disappear if I bought it, but then it's going to go down the next line, and there's another 16,000 shares. I'm gonna pay that, and here's only a measly 3,000 shares, I'm gonna fill. In order to get 300,000 shares, the price is way down. It's a lot lower than what you think it is. So when they say the best bid, this is the best bid price here, and this is the best ask price. Yeah, that's if you're buying $10 worth of the coin. It's trickery is what it is. They throw these fake orders like this here. I mean, what is that? $2? I mean, this 7,000 shares of ACH, that the price of ACH is like 2 cents. If that's 2 cents worth of coin here. There's not much. You're not going to get much here. It's a fake order is what it is.
So this might be a good time, to do the water bucket thing, because I think that would maybe make sense to how it operates when considering this data. What do you think?
Yeah. So you've got to know, we interrogate this whole thing so I know what my true fill price is going to be. And it's not going to be anywhere near that best bid and ask. Some people say, well, Ed, the price is right here. How come I'm not selling? I'm like, dude, it's not really there. That price is not really where you think it is. Okay, and this is a big deal because I can't imagine anybody interrogating that level 2 screen the way we do. Now I am planning on putting this L2 for everybody to see it, right? The problem is it only works on the servers because you have to give the API the right internet connection to give it permission. And I can't give each household permission because I don't know what your your IP address is. Each IP address would have to be approved. So I'm working on that. So, but I made it where my trader could see it.
Cool.
So yeah, sure. Crypto Casey is talking about, and yeah, this is a big deal. I like to show this because I really want everyone to understand how things work. If the price of a coin goes down, the software buys more, and that's okay. You want to buy more, and you buy and sell at that price. And if the price goes lower, we can buy more at lower prices. And then every time a well-seasoned auto trader has a lot of these, positions that are underwater, because then when it jumps up, you sell a lot of these off at once. Somebody told me they were questioning what this is that's coming out of the faucet. It's their dollar. I don't know. They're dollar signs. This is done in Excel. So it's just, if you trust that a bucket can go all the way down and get water and go all the way back up and pump it out, and that works, and you can pump out billions of gallons of water over a lifetime, then there's no reason this wouldn't work. But with the crypto market, it doesn't have to go all the way down, and it doesn't have to go all the way up. It could just stay right there. Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, wherever it's at. We follow the money. That's the secret to the market, is don't let that market breathe without giving you money. And there's too much slack in the real market, the way people trade. If you watch TV and you're looking at the numbers going all over, who's taking advantage of all that, all those wiggles up and down? If you're not, well, then you're missing out, because we are. Because if you have an auto trader, and it's anytime that coin wiggles, no matter where it's at, no matter whether it's up here or down here, is the software is doing money management so that it reserves money so that it can buy no matter where the price goes. And that's one of the biggest questions I get from people. And I'm going to tell you this every day. I can honestly say somebody every day will ask me, how do I make my trader invest more money per trade? And I'm like, that's not the answer. Because it's like if you're selling bags of potato chips and you don't like the fact that you're only making 8 cents a bag, it doesn't mean you should raise the price of the chips to $50 a bag, And that's what they want to do, is they want to raise the price. They want to throw more money in, and I'm like, no, that's not the answer. All you're doing when you throw more money in is you're taking money away from the drop in the market. The amount of these lots, I call them lots, that you can buy, because you're going to eat up all your money at the top. It's like a buy and holder. A buy and holder puts all their money in at the top. So when they do that, they're in up at the top. Like ACH 3 years ago, Alchemy Pay was 12 cents a share. And if they threw all their money in up there, and then the coin goes down like this, they're still waiting for it to go to 12 cents before they can even break even. And for the last 3 years, you know where ACH went? All the way down here. It's at 2 cents, right? 2.5 cents. So that means these thousands of trades that, if you have an auto trader, are trading, the buy and holder is not taking advantage of it. He's waiting for the coin to go back to 12 cents just before he can even break even. I mean, if he's not jumping off a bridge, I don't know what he's doing. I mean, seriously, he's dead. If you're a buy and hold, is dead, because you're missing all the action. You're missing thousands of trades that you could be making, all the profits you could be making. Instead, I don't know when Alchemy Pay is going to go back to 12 cents. However, if I go to, I got all these screens here. If I go to Alchemy Pay and I look at Alchemy Pay, let's just go to all time. A buy and holder is just sitting up here. He's dead. But look at all the profits we're making. I mean, can you imagine buying right down there, right where it's at there, and then it bounces up to there? All that profit. And it's just constant profits. Now, you're holding a few of these, I call losers or whatever, and you're still trading down here, making money like crazy. And then you get this pyramid pops up, boom, and you sell off a buttload, I mean, a whole lot of coin. And then you're just always taking money. If I go back a year, you got all these crazy wiggles. I mean, this is when it went from 2 cents. Yeah, 2 cents to 5 cents. I mean, how's that for a couple days of free money? And when it goes up here like that, everything you bought, if you had any inventory left over at a lower price, you just sold it all. And then you're back in and then it goes down again, and then we wiggle again, and we buy more down here, and then we sell it up here. And it's just free money for life wherever it goes. I did a demonstration one time. I had a Micron, MU is the stock symbol, and it looked just like this actually. And with all that action all month, right? It was a monthly chart. And what was interesting is it started the month at one price and it ended the month at the same price. A buy and holder made nothing. And we made all those trades. I mean, this is a no-brainer, you know, and people who look at it and go, I heard one guy when I was demonstrating the bucket in the well, you know, he goes, there's no way that could be real. Why not? Why not?
I mean,
Hey,
yeah,
and
if you think about it, we went to the
you're
moon in the 70s or something, and now we're landing rockets on
yeah,
platforms in the ocean. I mean, it's not really far-fetched to think that artificial intelligence and technology can do something like this. Markets are emotional, people are emotional, there's a bunch of noise, and you capitalize off of noise fluctuations is pretty much what's happening. Hey, you want to go into the trader though, like so people can see the dashboard?
sure. But you're right. The biggest thing holding everybody back is they're just, I don't know, taught wrong, or they listen to the negative stuff. Like, if that was real, there'd be no stock market. If that
Well,
was,
it's funny, like I actually was listening to a podcast this morning, and people before electricity, they would have never believed electricity was a thing. They would have never believed airplanes can fly, metal things can fly, or big metal things can float across the ocean. I mean, there's been so many things throughout human history that were unbelievable.
right. My
Um,
wife worked at Boeing, and she always said the same thing. It's like, I can't believe these planes actually can fly.
And then, I didn't even have a cell phone until I was in college. So I can't even imagine like just having a text, like a message from your brain to somebody else's brain without having to call them. I mean,
These
remember
are
when the
the
internet
greatest
was
things
making weird
ever.
noises and you couldn't even use the phone? I mean, people don't understand how crazily, insanely hyper accelerated all this technological advancement is.
Well, that gives you a very good footing to go back to what Attila was saying is pay close attention to what Mr. Barsano has created. Literally, and now we'll get in the nuts and bolts about how the machine works. And people call it this and that and the other, and bots, and this is not a bot. It's a complete money management system and automated trader that you have to do nothing other than look at the money that it made. That's it.
Yeah,
How
just
is it
watch it make
possible?
money.
I
That's
mean,
it.
I'll tell you, I was like Casey when Attila said, "Hey, I gotta introduce you to this guy. You got to see this thing." I'm like, there is
Scam.
no way this is real. No way. Well, just
I
just like landing on the moon without a computer. It's
Yeah,
real.
that's what I always say is they landed on the moon with no computer. Because if they had a computer in 1969, it had to be as big as a house. So I mean that rocket went up with no computer and landed on the moon and then took off again with no computer. That's fantastic. You know, I was stationed on the Enterprise, and I used to always say the same thing. I mean, how can this ship float?
Hold on, let me clarify. Is that the Starship Enterprise, Captain Kirk?
Yeah. Well, you know, I had a leather coat that said, you know, Enterprise on it, and people used to laugh at me when I'm walking through the mall. They thought it was the Starship Enterprise.
Uh-huh.
So go
Ed, were
right.
you a red shirt or a blue shirt? Were
Was-
you the scientist or engineer?
I'm
Both. You're purple.
I am. For one, I'm colorblind.
Oh, okay.
Which is why the
I
screen
was
you're looking at now.
just a programmer. People would say what they want, and then I would deliver the goods, and sometimes in one day.
So you were a purple shirt. You were a little red, a little blue.
Yeah, you know, the engineers in nuclear engineering would say, yeah, I wish we could have something like this. Then they come in the morning and they'd say, hey, Ed, oh, you got an early start. And they don't realize I was working all night. I'm like, is this blew their minds? So that was one of the things one of my strengths is I could just work 24 hours a day.
Let me make a comment because we got a comment from a gentleman called Russell, and we appreciate all the comments, but sometimes we gotta just comment on them because there's misconceptions, and it's interesting to the degree that people listen or don't listen because some things have been said already that are being questioned and like it wasn't ever said. So for example, and I'm not talking about you right now, Russell, but he says, I never bought anything from the stock market, so I have trouble with this trader because of all the stock market terminology. Well, two things there. You have to understand that this was based on a stock trader initially, and then in April of 2021 is when the crypto market launched. But you will not have trouble with this crypto trader because you don't have to do anything.
Right.
When I say set it and forget it, or when Edward or Mr. Barsano or Casey says set it and forget it, all you need to do is understand the big picture of what we're explaining here today. Get all your questions answered. We'll show you the main website and all the tabs that you could click on to do your own research. DYOR. Okay, always DYOR. Do your own research. But the tabs are there to click on. We've got blogs, we've got videos, we've got 30 answers to Q&A. We've got everything. But when I say set it and forget it, you buy the license, and if you decided to go travel to the other side of the world where there's no internet, you forgot your phone and you forgot your computer, the trader is trading on Mr. Barsano's servers. You literally do not have to do anything, Russell. So why would you have trouble? The technology is doing it for you. So that's all I'm saying is everybody has to appreciate the true meaning of set it and forget it. This is, you're not interacting, and sometimes you may misconstrue a little bit what Mr. Barsano says, because sometimes the words that come out of his mouth will say, when you do this, well, it sounds like you've got to do something on the trader.
No.
No,
Yeah.
you don't. Okay, you set it up by choosing your coins, you go live, and you're done. Okay, so I'm emphasizing, obviously, so everybody understands where we're coming from, but it is a little bit of a misconception. So anyway, go ahead.
But I would like to say, though, he's right. When I talk about the stock market, because the stock market and the crypto market are exactly the same. Exactly. From a programmer perspective, they're exactly the same. You fund your account at Coinbase, so there's your money. Or if it's a stock market, say to one of the brokers, you fund it with cash. The auto trader sends a buy order, whether it's stock or crypto, and they take the funds out of your cash to pay for the coin or the stock to buy it. Stocks and cryptos are exactly the same. That's why it was so easy for me to move over to the crypto market. People asked me all the way back in 2017 to automate the crypto market, and I was just entrenched with the stock trader, and I kind of blew them off, honestly. you know, the crypto traders. It's like, you know, when they asked, I'm like, hey, I don't have time for that. You know, I'm busy with the stock market here. And in reality, I could have automated the crypto market like that if I would have really lifted my head and looked at the crypto market. I would have realized, whoa, this is the only difference is the high volatility. When I turned the crypto trader on in April of 21, after I automated it, I went, oh my God, I'm done with stocks. As soon as I looked at it, I'm like, I already knew I'm done with stocks just because I saw the high volatility. And another thing I wanted to mention about Crypto Casey, when she asks questions, they're harder than the questions I got at Microsoft in my interview.
Oh, no way. I don't believe
Yes, oh yeah, oh yeah. I even, when I was being grilled at Microsoft, I said, are you guys really programmers? You're joking, right? Questions were so easy.
Wow, that's crazy. I have some software experience, like working with software companies. So, I mean, I have the technological foundation a little bit, but not as much as you do.
Well, I've been just doing it my whole life. But no, you're grilling me. You know, you're actually, the questions you ask, I really had to think about. The questions they were asking, I'm like, you're joking, right? That's how do you move something in memory from one place to
No,
another?
no, it's funny. One of the questions we didn't cover, which you guys always cover, was like, all right, if since you have complete control over everything, it's not open source, you know, if something happened to you, then we're just left
Is it my
with that's what
complexion?
you
You
do.
think I'm gonna die?
Well, I mean, it's inevitable for
All of us.
all of us. So that was
It is
another question.
true. It is true. You know, my son has been programming these auto traders since high school. And it all started really, he had his laptop when he was in high school, he was having a hard time with Windows. And I just casually told him, I said, just format the hard drive, man, and start over. You know, and who's going to format their hard drive? Who in their right mind would format their hard drive and then start over under a laptop? But he did it. And I'm like, wow, really? He can program. So I started giving him projects like functions, write a function to do this, write a function to do that. While I'm busy with other stuff, he's writing, different code. And he's been programming, and now he's like a master programmer. He'll do this, forever. He's been doing it for 15 or 17 years. He's got a biochem degree, so he got his bachelor's degree, but he didn't really have his heart set on being a doctor. So
You have a very comprehensive succession plan that goes
yeah.
that
Well,
get
he would take over.
this will run far after that, we're no longer here.
Well, you don't conquer the stock market or the crypto market, both, you don't conquer that and then just quit. Who would quit? Especially when everybody says it can't be done. Especially in the early days, boy, in 2001 and 2003. I mean, everybody was like, can't be done, can't be done. And I'm like, really? I don't understand what you're looking at. I'm looking at something that is so simple, the bucket in the well, right? I mean, it's like, I don't understand how you don't see the obvious, that it's just free money. They're just giving you free money. And for some reason, people feel like they have to gamble. It's like, you don't have to gamble. It's in the money management is what it's in. And that's where people have a hard time, is because they want to go all in. They want to put all their money in on day one. And that's where millions of people got it wrong. If you do that, you have no money to buy more at a lower price. If the price drops lower, you don't have any money, so you're waiting for it to go back up there. And that's the biggest mistake everybody's making.
Well, I
And
mean,
then
until your system came live, there was no option for anybody to take advantage of what we call the wiggles in the market. And even if you had these so-called bots or indicators or charts or whatever you spent years and
all
years
wrong.
doing, you would not have the ability to trade at a millisecond basis based on something that you probably couldn't read anyway. I mean, all the traders out there, probably still with all the training, probably have a 50 or 60% chance of getting it sort of right. With
They're
this,
not, yeah, they're
with this,
not looking at, they don't understand the level 2 screen for one, so they're dead already. But then not only that, you ever see somebody sitting behind 6 monitors? I mean, they're trying to look for patterns in 6 indicators. So remember, my old system had 10 screens, and you know what I always say, 10 screens of ways to blow yourself up. They're looking at all these indicators and everything, and I'm like, wow. I took the indicators and put them in the AI, and I let the AI handle that. The AI can handle pattern recognition magnificently because it can assign a value to a percent to each indicator, as opposed to what if you're just looking at monitors, then you're really looking at visual things, and you're looking for, you want them all, like all the indicators, like to go up equally and stuff like that. But a lot of all the indicators really have different values. They don't have to move up. Like one of your indicators can be, and you've heard me maybe say this before, is it raining outside? You could literally throw a useless indicator there like that in there. Now, if it's the stock market or the crypto market, that indicator means nothing. The AI will assign a 0% to that most likely, or maybe a 1% value to that indicator. So it doesn't have to be going up, or it doesn't have to be raining or not raining. As opposed to if it was the horse races, and some of you may have experience in the horse races, you might, an indicator like that would be valuable because some horses can't run in the mud, right? So some of you know what I'm talking about there. So that would be a very valuable indicator if it was looking at it for the horse races. So some of these indicators that people are looking at aren't as valuable as they think, and the AI can figure that out and assign those lower percentages.
Yeah, the impact that I was the point that I was trying to make was that even if at a human level you had access to that and you were smart enough to be able to read six indicators, 27 indicators, you cannot manually do it fast enough to take full advantage of the marketplace. Where
Not at all, because they're changing too fast.
Right. Your system literally does it all by itself. I mean, it's a very simple presentation. You make it very user-friendly and logical in the layout. But when you look at what is, I can't even comprehend what's behind the machine that gets it to where it literally monitors and trades on milliseconds.
Can I say something? Look at all these fake orders, these fake limit orders. 926.5 shares, and then it goes away. So it was there for an instant, just to really messing with people. I mean, the level 2 screen is like the last thing. I mean, people cannot look at that. And the best, when you're looking at prices, don't. You can't. I would honestly say don't trade the market without an auto trader. I don't understand how people do it manually.
Can you,
Well, it's almost like, imagine if you're flying an airplane, but without a computer system. What?
Yeah.
Why would you do that anymore? And how can one person just be the computer system? No, not really. I wouldn't get on that plane.
Nope.
No, right. And that's the thing, and I don't know. It's not rocket science, I'll say that, but it is over 2 million lines of code, because you're dealing with all the problems that the market's throwing at you, like that level 2 screen. And I say, when I say we, I mean the software interrogates the heck out of that level 2 screen. The math that it's doing on that level 2 screen to filter out all the garbage, to figure out what am I really going to get filled at here. Because you don't want to, the software does not want to float a limit order in public view. I don't want to say, if it goes to this price, sell it, or if it goes to this price, buy it. If you throw
Right.
that out there publicly, you're already dead, because all the fake orders are going to be coming in below you, above you, and why won't it go to my price? As opposed to the software knows where it's going to sell it, and
Hey,
whether it's
Ed,
really going to get filled.
Ed, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we got so many questions that are coming in. We really need to get to the trader.
Okay.
Can you start with the left side and just go over there? Now, I understand based on previous conversations, you personally started this account with approximately 200K, right?
Yeah, this one, yes. I
Okay,
start with 200 on 12/19, right
12,
after the
19,
market
2021,
crashed. Or
2020. Yeah,
12,
this is, yeah,
12/19, 2020, or oh wait a minute. Yeah, December 19th. That's right after the crypto winter started.
yeah, and
The
then
coins all started crashing.
yeah, and consequently, this trader has never seen a bull market, correct?
Right.
That's incredible.
It's
Go
never
ahead.
seen a bull market. The market's been going down, 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 but while it's going down, up, down, up, down, up.
Right.
You can even see.
Which is why, and I'm always amazed at this in a down market with the wiggles, proving that your system works. You have literally taken almost $1 million off the table in your sleep.
Wow.
Look
Go
at
ahead.
Alchemy Pay here. January 26th, all profits, but then watch when it takes off. January 27th is
Then it
when
goes back and buys a bunch.
it started going straight up. But while it was going straight up, it kept trying to do these wiggles where it tried to pull back a little. And we said, gotcha, I'll buy more. So you got these opens and closes in the middle of a straight up market. Because nothing goes straight up, it always goes.
Yep.
There's always these
My friend,
pullbacks.
my friend Vera
It's doing
was
it.
just asking that question.
And we take advantage of that. And so it's just, look at all this, all on the same day, January 27th. Just all that free money, free money, free money. I mean, I don't know what to say, I mean, the market's an insult to humanity, is what I say, because it's just numbers going up and down. It's a 7-Eleven without the bricks and mortar. That's all. You put product on the shelf and you sell it at a higher price, but you do
without
it properly.
without pain in the ass employees.
Right. And without a lease on a building, and and without having to stock the shelves. I mean, all the whole, can you imagine going to a Jack in the Box and buying 2 tacos for $1 or $1.80, and then don't buy anything else with it? I mean, they made nothing, and they got all those employees and the building and everything. It's like, wow.
Hey, Ed, can you explain the top section under portfolio? We got some questions coming in on that.
Top section, it just shows you today's move, and you can see there's nothing is up today.
Yeah.
So it's a down day.
Mhm.
Someone asked me just in email today, she said, only one other time have I ever seen my trader not take profits in one day. And then yesterday, I didn't take any. Could you look at my trader to see if something's broken? There's nothing broken. It was just a big down day. It needs to wiggle.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it's like? Crypto Casey, don't you think can you imagine
Not
what
making
it's
money
like?
in one day?
No.
Look, one time I remember distinctly buying Ethereum at 1,400 and watching it go down to $70 for 3 years. I mean, this is
Wow.
nothing. If you're not making money in one day, oh no. Oh no.
But and I'm sure you experience it, I feel like, you ever see that Far Side cartoon with all the penguins? Thousands of penguins, and there's one penguin in the middle saying, you gotta be me.
You
And
gotta do
it's
what?
hard.
What was it
Pardon me?
saying?
It's saying you gotta be me, or I gotta be me. You're a penguin. Yeah. I mean, it's like when you're you are what's called the abstainer. You're the one saying one thing when everybody else is saying something else. I mean, that's
That's
hard.
whenever you kind of know you're on the right track. Every time I've done something, like even my own businesses, I've had like a few businesses, and even when I started my YouTube channel and other things, or even whenever I was buying crypto at first, everybody's like, "You're an idiot. What? It's never gonna pan out." Everything always panned out, but what's funny is I kind of liked whenever people said, "You're wrong." I'm like, "All right, well, I'll prove you wrong. How about that?" And here
Let's
we
just
are.
wait.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Ed, in
I like a good challenge.
in the portfolio section, someone's asking, can you explain the charts, like the big red numbers, losses? Well, let me make a comment and then
This
please
is just
explain.
open positions.
Right. So
These are open coins that
the
were bought
system
like at a higher price, and
the
then they
system
went lower.
the system is programmed to never sell at a loss. It just collects inventory waiting for the next bounce.
So that's right here. So when a coin starts higher and you're buying and selling, every time the open positions can only go up and down with the coin value. In the last couple months, these coins took a 60% drop. So when they're dropping, they go down and the auto trader's buying at lower prices. But then every time it wiggles, like you can see down here, the profit's taken. All these profits taken go into the closed positions P&L. And it just keeps taking profits. And these profits, this number just goes higher and higher. What I like to say, it's like a jar, a jelly jar, and you just keep throwing marbles in it and watch this thing fill up over your whole lifetime. This is called a life trader. Remember, I tried to buy lifetrader.com, but it doesn't exist. Because it's a life trader. Once you go automated, you're never going to stop. Why would you ever stop a machine that is cranking out money in the middle of the night while you're sleeping? I mean, look what time this one here made that 250 bucks at 12:27 a.m. I mean, I was probably laying in bed watching the Viking movie, Viking Valhalla. You ever watch that on Netflix? It's crazy. Or buying at 8:27 in the morning, and you can just see the trades, all the profits it makes, just day and night. I mean, I see a lot of AMs going by in there, and like 6:59 a.m.,
How many
6:11.
buttons have you ever had to push to make those profits?
No, nothing. I don't even look at my trader unless I'm doing a webinar. Unless I'm doing a Zoom, I don't even know whether I'm making money each day. I just know that I'm going to make at least 10,000 a month. I
What do you
know
call it? The system that
that's a
keeps on
given,
giving? What do you call it, Ed?
right?
The system that keeps on giving?
And these are very slow months, I mean, I like to see $30,000 months, but it's a slow month. You can see all these down days. I'm not worried about it in the least. I mean, they would have to, even if Alchemy Pay went out of business, the most they could take is that. But I've already taken 321,000. So they can't take this back from me because that's profits and I've already got that. So yeah, you just
Ed, that's
keep
good
taking
stuff.
forever.
Yep, that's good stuff. Can you do me a favor for everybody's sake? Because we've already had two people ask. I'm sure there's going to be more. We can't give financial advice of how much money to start with when you go live. We can't give financial or any kind of advice on possible returns. I mean, Mr. Barsano you see the returns since 12/19/2021. That's not guaranteed. It
I
could be.
like this 1:52 a.m. profit, 6:12 a.m. profit. I love it. When I first turned on the auto trader in 21, in April of 21, I used to have my laptop sitting on the side of the bed on a nightstand there. And in the morning, first thing I would do is lift up the lid to see how much I made while I was sleeping. It's crazy.
So to Attila's point, we will at the end, we'll show an example. Actually, I'll show a quick simulation, and I'll show an example of if you were to put X amount in to start with some very obviously very, very conservative numbers, half of what you're seeing in returns. But I mean, you're a little bit over 3 years, and you start with 200 and you make 900, and you still have all this inventory and all of this profit and all of this trading every single day. Yeah, let me put it this way. Where else? Attila at the beginning said, our job is to employ our money. Where else are you going to put your money that is safe, secure, something that doesn't sell at a loss, something that just grinds out profit in your sleep without any knowledge whatsoever? Where are you going to make 1/10 of that, right? In traditional finance, what could you make in the bank? 5%, maybe 6%, but you're locking your money up for years. You're not keeping up with inflation. So what does it make? It's going to make what it's going to make. And that's an Ed Barsano quote. The market's going to give you what the market's going to give you. You can't make it give you more, right? But it literally puts you in a position where it automates part of your financial life, takes all the stress off because you don't have to stare at what the price of a stock or what the price of a crypto is. It doesn't matter. It simply makes money in an up market and a down market. And what do I say this system does?
It eats volatility.
It eats volatility. Every time, thank you. Right on cue. It eats volatility that you don't have to do anything about it. You know, people go, oh, the stock market's down, or the crypto market's up, or the crypto market's down. Well, if you were a buy and holder of crypto, even in the last 6 weeks, a buy and holder, or yet 3.5 years ago, you got to hate crypto because you're at a 50, 60, 70, 80% loss. But I'm going to show you a simulation at the end. I know we've got a bunch of questions to get through, but we're almost there. Then I'm going to show you something I started a month ago in the trader using what I call the $1 billion report, which I pointed to in the overview, which will make that make sense here in a minute. And then you're gonna see, without any stress, it just makes money.
Well, there's a 1 month report on Alchemy Pay. It's just, I call it free money. It's just free money.
I mean, what else can you call it?
I mean, it's not magic. I'm not predicting anything. I'm not doing anything, really. It's just, I'm doing, and I say but the software is just doing proper money management. And that's what's lacking in the industry out there. Everyone is out there trying to tell you you can predict things. And it's like, stop trying to predict. If you're running a 7-Eleven, you put potato chips on the shelf. And if you have, and people come in and buy them, and you make sure your shelf is full. And, you don't want to have empty shelves. For those of you in the food industry, whether you are or not, the end cap is a very important spot in a store. So, I was in a store a couple of weeks ago and I saw an end cap in like an Albertsons. The entire end cap shelf was empty. All the shelves on the end cap were empty. I couldn't believe it, and then I walked down another aisle and I saw a shelf completely empty, one shelf. And then I went a little further down and there was another empty shelf. And then I went a little further down and there was another empty shelf. I'm like, bad move. If you really cared about business, it'd be like Trader Joe's. The aisles are full of customers and you could barely get through the aisle pushing your cart. And what did I see in the middle of the aisle? A worker filling the shelves, stocking the shelves, making sure there are no empty shelves. And that's really what the auto trader does. It makes sure you always have a lot of inventory. And that's why I come up with these phrases, down is good, down is good. When you first sign up, you're only going to buy one lot, right? I call one lot, each purchase one lot. Your robotic trader is going to buy one lot of each coin. All you own is one lot. And you actually don't want it to go up. Because if it goes up, so what? You made a little money. Who cares? You want it to go down. You want to build some inventory. You want to have what I call a well-seasoned auto trader. And if you look at my trader, let's just look real fast.
The only
14
logic,
lots,
the only
21 lots.
the only illogical logic that I've ever heard only makes sense what you said if somebody understands what the trader does. Who would go, oh yeah, I'm investing in crypto, and look at this
And it's going down.
down is good.
I know it's crazy, and that's why millions of people lose money. 42 lots. And the example I have really, and you've probably heard me before, some of you, or 29 lots there. The example I have is if you have one bag of chips on the shelf in your 7-Eleven and a school bus full of kids pulls in, you're going to sell one bag of chips. That's it. That's all you have on your shelf. But if you have 20, like here, 21 lots, 21 bags. You have 21 bags of chips on the shelf and a school bus full of kids pulls in, you're going to sell 21 bags. Every time the market tries to go up, when you have big moves, 20% moves, and you've seen them. I mean, today we're having a down days, which is fine. We'll add to our inventory, but you want to have inventory. So when that school bus pulls in, you want to sell a lot. When that coin jumps 20%, you want to sell 10 bags at once. That's a well-seasoned auto trader has inventory. And that's what I try to tell people that and I'm not a salesman. Everybody knows that. I must sound like one by now. I don't know, but I couldn't sell candy when I was in 7th grade. I know that. So I am not a salesman. But I'll be honest, I hear people saying, well, I'm going to wait and I'm going to do this and that. Well, while you're waiting and not buying and not having your auto trader running, you know what? You're not building inventory. So that's actually costing you. The sooner you get in and let the software start buying, the better, because then you're building inventory. And especially now, after the last 2 months of being the market being down 60%, that's beautiful. This is a beautiful time to get in. I mean, but the sooner you get in, the sooner your trader starts doing what it's doing. So when people say that, my auto trader, I want all my money in up here, you don't want that. What you want it to do is buy on the drops so that you're filling up inventory all the way down here. You've got the market trapped then. Just like the bucket in the well. Each one of these fingers is one lot. You want to have a lot of inventory. So when that price jumps, you sell off a whole bunch of inventory at once. I mean, like when that coin jumped from 2 cents to 5 cents in one day, think of all the inventory people sold off.
Okay, I'm gonna make one comment here because we got a great feedback from Colette. And this answers a lot of people's questions that I've been reading in the chat. So I want to read this. Thank you, Colette, by the way. I've been using the trader since January. Your profits are dependent on how much money you put into the trader. Very true. The more money you have in, the more money you make. The coins you choose and the market. So that's what the profits are dependent on. If the market is down, you need to build up inventory to sell when it goes back up. That's exactly what Ed was just saying. If it's up, you'll sell more than when it's down. Sometimes the market is stagnant and doesn't move up or down. Correct. I've made 17% profit overall since January, and each month has been completely different in profits. And she's done that, or the trader has gained her 17% without her doing a darn thing. She said it and she forgot it. She looks at it once in a while, obviously, to see what it's done, but that's it. So
Yeah.
Thanks for that feedback.
Yeah,
Can
thank
we
you,
ask
Colette.
her what coin she's trading?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead, Colette.
Yeah, she can put it in there, but let me make a comment. So I said before, where else are you going to employ your money that's actually going to make money? Even if you think, well, it's only 17%, it's nowhere near what we're showing to the trader. That's okay. If you annualize that, that's essentially 1/4. You know, if you annualize that, that's 68% on your money.
In a down market.
In a down market, in a crazy down market. And since January, the market's been down 50%. And you still made a 17% return on your money. All right. Well, please, anybody that can educate us on where else you could do that, let us know.
We have the highest trade count report that comes out every month. This is the April report. And it shows you every coin and how many trades it would have made last year if you were trading it. And then it even shows you monthly how many trades it made. It shows you the last 8 months, because that's all I could fit on the screen. How many trades it made each month. And the reason a lot of people trade Bonk, B-O-N-K here, Bonk and Pepe, don't count last month. Every single coin, except for a couple, were down, had less trades last month. So last month was outright a slower month. But without that, the lowest month Bonk had in a year was 48 trades. The lowest month Pepe had was 52 trades. That's remarkable. Because compare that to the coins at the bottom. The lowest month, 0 trades. The lowest month, 2 trades. The lowest month, 9 trades. Just junk. I mean, these coins at the bottom. See, GoBaby, you go to the highest trade count report. It's actually on the website. You can actually look at the report without signing up. And we don't trade coins that do this. Give you 11 trades in a month, 3 trades in a month. You know, we want the stuff at the top of the report.
Yep. And apologize for the interruption. So I just posted in the, I posted it once before, but the special crypto KC link that provides the discount, click on that link. You don't have to, it's not going to take you to a buy page unless you want it to, but it'll take you to the front page or the landing page where all of these reports exist. And I'm sorry, Ed, you may have said it, but this is what I was referring to when I talked about the $1 billion report. This information is aggregated from all the traders that are out in the world that are in this closed network, but it feeds this data and all the trading data on a minute by minute basis. And this information is not available anywhere else. And Ed, when you're finished with this, I'm going to ask you to borrow the screen because I'm going to show you the example, show everybody the example.
That's okay. I'm finished.
Okay. Well,
I mean, I'm done, man.
Right. Based on this report, let me show you something. Okay. So this is a simulated account, right? But it's the exact same account, exact same thing. We were talking about what I did last month. Actually, I think this was either based on, it may have been based on March. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Your trader.
Right. So I started this simulation with some of the highest trade counts just to see what it would do, right? And that's not to take away from the staples that Mr. Barsano was talking about that has made him $900,000 in the past three and a half years. But look at this. So my starting simulation balance was $100,000, right? And obviously it's the exact same layout. The last 30 days, it's taken almost $10,000 in profit. So if you were to analyze, so not analyze, but 9,579 times 12 is a shade shy of 115% of my money on an annualized basis in 1 month and 4 days. So does it work? Does it work as advertised? Is there any smoke and mirrors? No. I did this just I wonder what it's going to do based on the value of the $1 billion report and the information it produces, and what could it do for me, or what could it do for you in a real life basis? Well, proof's in the pudding. These aren't manipulated. This is a live account, albeit it's trading and paper trading to do that simulation. So whether it's $10,000, $1,000, $100,000 that you put in, you can see that it simply just works. So a lot of people have had questions of what's it going to take for me to make $10,000 a month? Well, here's a pretty good example.
Well, also, It's a great example, Edward, you're right, but it's a very hard question to answer because it depends when you start. You're going to start different than at a different point in time in the market than when Ed Barsano started, or when Edward, or when I, or when Casey started. You're going to maybe use different coins. You're going to, it's just a different, no two traders are exactly alike as far as results.
Yep.
Because of those variables.
Yep, you're absolutely correct. But having access to this kind of information and free to do your research ahead of time, whether you buy the trader or not. I mean, we'd love for you to join the family and reap the benefits, but no one's going to think poorly of you if you go, yeah, no, this doesn't make sense to me. But consider the fact that you have access to the information to make a very informed decision. And what is it? What is one of your quotes, Attila?
I said it in the beginning. Do you form your business or financial decisions on solid facts or false assumptions?
Right. True.
That's a very fair question to a business person or even to a non-business person, because I've heard in my 67 years and 47 of those being in the world of business, I've seen so many people jump to conclusions without getting the facts. All we're doing here is we're showing facts. This is factual. You can't, like Edward said, you can't get this highest trade counts report anywhere in cyberspace. This is the only place it's available.
Right.
This is worth $1 billion.
And this didn't just get created out of thin air, by the way, when I first decided after I got hammered in the 2000 market crash, I said, you picked on and I was bored already after 5 years of retirement. I mean, really, you want to drive your Jaguar into a wall. But, I said, you picked on the wrong guy. I'm going to hurt you for that. I didn't know who you was, but I knew I was going to automate the market and prove it's just numbers going up and down. But the first thing I wanted to do was find out, what does everybody else know? All right. I needed to be educated because, I was in all the tech stocks in the 90s. They were all going straight up. I didn't need to know anything. Honestly, I didn't know anything about the market. I just knew it was doing numbers up and down, and I could automate that, and I could automate the money management. So I knew it from the beginning. However, I wanted to know, what does everybody else know? So I started presenting to audiences all over the country. You can look it up, AAII.com, American Association of Individual Investors. They have chapters all over the country. And every week they have presentations to their audience. So they're always looking for speakers. And I was the only one talking about auto trading. So they were all asking me, will you come out and present? So I didn't know what I was going to walk into. And I've said it before, it could be 30 people or it could be 300 people. And the thing that I discovered after talking to so many people was, everybody wants to make money. But I discovered that nobody knew how. They were all following the same old stuff. If you get a stop loss, if you're down 3%, sell it at a loss. And jump in with all your money, and if it goes down 3%, sell it, and look at all these technical indicators. Then I discovered people were actually teaching classes on the stock market, on technical analysis, people teaching classes that weren't even trading themselves. So, talk about riffraff, right? Behavior. So, I mean, I learned from everyone. And what I said is, I don't know if you caught what I said. Go back and play it. We are going to conquer the market. I didn't mean I am going to conquer the market. We are going to conquer the market. It was a group thing, like a family, a club. And we're going to work together. And I wanted to know, what do you know? And I was automating everything they knew. That's why I had 10 screens of things you could do. It was crazy. And what I discovered is, nobody really knew. They were just throwing numbers all over the place. And so it took years to get to this point. And it was only after I sold that old company and I rewrote the software and I said, you know what? We're going to put all the technical indicators into the AI, and the software that we're running here, that's running on our servers, is going to be concentrating just on money. We're going to chase money. We're going to not let that coin breathe. We're not going to let it go. I mean, the coins, I don't know if you know it, they don't gradually go up like stocks or down like stocks. What they do, cryptos jump around. So, I mean, tomorrow morning, any of these coins can be up 100%, or it could be up 30% tomorrow, or they could be down 30%, which is fine. We'll buy more 30% lower. Then we got them trapped down there. That means they can't do that. They can't wiggle a little bit like that without giving me money. So I've got them trapped no matter where they go.
Yeah, Mr.
Where
Barsano,
they go, it's a good.
might I comment how much shorter your learning curve would have been if you just started listening to Crypto Casey back in 2018?
I know I should have just listened. But I didn't know. I kind of blew off cryptos, and I don't know why. And it was so easy. I automated the stock market with the web, web-based in 2020. And then this guy, Al Powell, some of you may know him, Al Powell.
One of our original testimonials.
Yeah, he was a longtime trader he was always, for 15 years. I mean, he was always in trading cryptos he was always trading stocks with my stock traders. He said, Ed, why don't you, because I was telling him I have nothing to do now. The auto traders are created. I don't have 10 screens of things. Plus, it's not downloadable software, so you don't have to worry about downloading it and installing it, all the complex things, because the software is running on my servers. Now it's web-based. You can bring up your auto trader on your cell phone. And,
and people can take advantage of.
Why don't you automate the crypto market? So I went ahead and did it. And that's when as soon as I did it in October, in April of 21, that's when I realized, like, wow, I should have done this years ago.
Hey, Ed, it's time to take off your jacket, buddy. We got that.
Are we going to do Q&A?
Yeah.
I like that. I like to take off my coat so I can really
lot of questions,
roll up
buddy.
my sleeves.
Stop the screen share if you don't mind for now. You could always go back to it just so we have a larger screen.
Hey,
This
Casey.
is my favorite time.
Casey, you can see the questions, right?
Yes.
Okay. Would you do us a favor? Would you jump in and ask a couple of questions and engage? And if you got 2 cents or 2
On the
Bitcoin,
chat or on the Q&A?
on the Q&A.
And you're actually asking them to everybody, anyone can answer these.
Yep. Just click on the Q&A down the bottom. You should see.
Yeah, I got it.
But don't make them too
Can I do
hard,
this with self-directed Roth IRA? Can we do this with I Trust Capital soon?
I hate to. This is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt. The answer's gonna hurt. I took a picture of it.
Hey, you got a mountain lion in front of the camera.
Yeah, it's a panther.
That's the answer I got from I Trust Capital.
What is it? Oh, hold on.
This time, I Trust Capital does not offer any API integration to any third-party applications, including self-trading bots. Lame. Okay, well, that's our answer.
Yeah.
Well, but Coinbase, you can do a self-directed IRA in Coinbase Prime.
Oh yeah, you can do IRAs in Coinbase.
Yep.
In Coinbase Prime.
All right, we got. Let's move on to the next question. I'll get the next one.
Yeah,
Scott,
I'm also automating Uphold. I'm also working on Uphold and Binance US.
Oh.
That's big news.
Good.
I'm trying to. I put in the request for the API from Uphold, and they asked me for everything: my articles of incorporation, my company standing.
I expect nothing less.
I sent them everything.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said I expect nothing less from Uphold.
They
upholding
grilled me, and I sent them all that information, and now I'm waiting for them to give me an answer. I don't know why they wouldn't let me do it.
They have a reputation to uphold.
Uphold, really? How
Yeah.
pun
They
intended.
got a rep to protect.
Yes.
I want to answer Scott, a part of Scott's question. Scott's been through the mill as far as being scammed out of a lot of programs in this blockchain crypto space. Scott, I don't know if you were on when we first started, and I was giving the history of how I met Mr. Barsano and the fact that I also had 5 major blockchain crypto scams, a couple of which actually you mentioned on there. But understand something. The reason you lost your money is very simple. You gave them your crypto, and they were the ones that had your crypto in their wallets or exchanges. Here, it's 180 degrees in the opposite direction. You control your money. So when you control your money at Coinbase or Kraken, there's no way you could explain to me how you could ever get scammed out of your money, because Mr. Barsano does not control your money, nor does anybody else. GoBabyTrade is simply giving buy and sell instructions to Coinbase or Kraken. So you need to understand that, because that should answer 95% of your questions. Now, your technical questions you have of Mr. Barsano, I would say you send a support ticket into support@gobabytrade.com, and you get those other pieces of information you want. But I will take it from me. I've known this man since 2012. He's about as square of a shooter as you could get. I mean, he's real, and what you see is what you get. He's just a genius programmer that created this for the average person, so that the average person can not gamble and have the same advantages that the big boys on Wall Street have had all along, and we didn't. So now we
Yeah.
do. Yeah. So anyway,
Now you have a way to employ your money.
correct.
Right. So Robert says, can I break the total down to the sign up with this bot into monthly payments? No. No, there's 2 ways to pay. Credit card is what I would suggest, particularly if you get if you get points. If not, you can also purchase it with crypto USDC. You'll have to send an email to support at GoBabyTrade, which I'll put in the
No,
chat.
no, they
again.
wouldn't.
Nope.
No, they
Nope.
don't.
No, it's just automatic now.
Fully automated.
Oh, very good, very good.
Right at sign up time, it just says pay with crypto. Click it.
Gotcha. I know that was once an option, and then there was a
Now
pause.
I'm using a service.
Very good.
instead of I wrote the first one.
Great.
Now I'm using a service for that.
Right.
Somebody asked if they could go over the DCA with Bitcoin real quick. It's super simple.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you want to? Well, do you
Well,
want?
I don't know. I skipped some questions, so I don't know.
No, that's all right. Do you want to, Ed? Do you want to bring your trader back up and talk about how someone DCAs? For example, you have in the past talked
It's like
about,
literally 1 second. Fine.
right. Yep.
Sure, I can bring up my trader. I can bring up my trader. Well,
While
you
you're doing
just
that, Mark asks any word on whether Kraken is improving the ability to fulfill high volumes of orders. So I think, and correct me, Ed, if I'm
they handle them. They handle tens of thousands of orders.
Yep. It was not a matter of whether they could handle the trades. They fulfilled the trades, but their confirmation response time was delayed back to the trader, and the trader does not display the transaction until there is a confirmation back from the exchange.
But Coinbase did respond pretty fast.
Right. He's asking specifically about Kraken. So I almost expected the phone to ring, Ed, for you from Kraken. Hey, Mr. Barsano, this is Kraken here. What are you doing?
Well, there's my, you get alerts like this when your trader does a trade. So it just took another $317.
Am I seeing? Are we seeing the same thing?
Yeah.
I'm still seeing the iTrust Capital.
Yeah, I'm still seeing your screenshot. We're not
For
seeing your
for
trade.
everybody.
Maybe I have to. Oh, too bad. Let me.
While Ed's doing that, let me answer a bunch of questions that are the same.
Yep.
Somebody's asking, Mao, thanks for your question. What percentage of earnings is GoBabyTrade bringing 1 week or per monthly basis? If we could guarantee a consistent return, that would be called a yield. Yields are guaranteed. There are no yields here. These are returns that are variable based on what the market gives us. So for example, last week or the week before, there were 4 days in a row, my trader did not take a profit, but it was buying more at a lower price because it did go down. So how does that affect my return for the month? Well, you would think that's bad. It's actually very good because remember, Mr. Barsano keeps harping, down is good. You need inventory. It's like a farmer. A farmer sows and reaps. He sows the seeds to reap the harvest. If the trader doesn't, if you don't let the trader sow the seeds of buying more crypto at a lower price, how are you going to reap the profits? Okay, so we can't
Yeah,
give
look at here,
returns.
looking on April 6th. It was doing April 5th and April. These are all buys, no sells.
Yeah,
And then it started selling them off on April 7th,
look at it. Looky there.
7th and 8th.
What a beautiful thing.
And then on the 9th, it sold a whole bunch off. You know, all in a row.
It's all over the map.
And it's up to the market, you know, it's up to the market to decide what you're going to make. This is just going to grind out money forever.
Right.
I mean,
this is
think about it
a
yourself.
marathon.
If you were walking down the street and you found a $20 bill on the ground, just a $20 bill, nothing, not a lot of money. And then the next day you found another 20, maybe near the same spot. On the third day, you'd be looking down on that third day for it, for the next 20. I mean, if you know, once you understand, once you see this thing crank out money almost every day of your life, you're gonna be hooked for life, man. Once you go automated, you never go back to manual trading. I've never heard of anybody wanting to stop doing this.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's quit, which actually goes to Almandine's question, what does it cost after the initial 3 years? Is that, correct me if I'm wrong, Ed, this is your pricing. What are your thoughts after the 3
Been
year
the same
life?
pricing for
Okay, well, so it's not,
forever.
you know, if you're in the family, you're in the family. Right. So let me make one comment to your $20 bills. I just did a quick calculation. If this thing simply on average made you $20 a day for a year, that's $7,300. That doesn't take a whole lot to start with to generate 20 bucks a day.
And actually, I
just
want to
3 months.
pipe in here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Pipe away.
Whatever. One of my questions was, why is this so cheap? After I was using it, I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Some people,
So
I used to say, you know, I get enough people ask me that. A lot of people ask that, and you know, my answer now is, I think I'm going to raise it.
well, I mean, that's
you
a
know,
really
I
good
don't-
answer. I giggle when you ask that question, Casey, because I feel the same. You know, anybody, as I've made the comment before.
No, what's funny is like the initial I put in, and then I was testing it, and I didn't tell them that I bought it. I just
Right.
heard their spiel, met them, scam, whatever, and I'm like, wait, this thing is actually working. What's the deal? I'm like, what? This makes no sense to me.
Right. Well, we actually give you the two
I'll
engines.
tell you why.
Well, before you give the answer, so we've had people comment on the videos, right? Only millionaires can afford this. If Ed's doing it for the good of the people and to level the playing field for everybody, why wouldn't he give it away for free? Why wouldn't he charge 25 bucks a month? Because you don't understand the system. You don't understand what return it can give you. On the other end of the spectrum, I've had people go, all right, will $10,000 get me started? How much of what's the
Usually.
10 grand a year? I'm like, well, it could be.
I mean, a lot of people start with 10,000.
No. For the license, $10,000 a year just to use the license.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's
I didn't create this for millionaires.
To Casey's point, it's absurdly reasonable. It comes out to $3.19 a day. That's a half a cup of Starbucks crappy coffee.
But I didn't create this for millionaires. You know, I didn't create it. That's why some people ask me, how come the trader won't allow you to trade with more than 2 million? And let me tell you, most people don't have 2 million. I mean, only a handful of people have that. You know, and I created it for everyday people to level the playing field. I didn't create it so the rich guys can come in. I mean, there's companies out here that already use the software and they buy multiple traders. And that's the only way they're going to get in. You know, I won't let them just put 10 million in one trader. No way.
But
Hey,
With
Ed,
one
you'll fill in
license.
5 traders.
we got a question here that's kind of a cute question. It's actually, you'll see why I think it's cute. Not in a bad way, just it's truly cute. Why are the numbers on the screen not changing as this is a live trader?
This is a live trader. What's not changing?
I mean, what I don't even know, Armadine, I think that's a female name, but Armadine, this is what they're thinking of is, you know, in the stock market, you see the numbers going up and down all the time. That's different. That's like a live chart.
Look at
This is a
Alchemy
trader.
Pay. It's positive on the day. It
Yeah.
was negative earlier. And when it went positive, the robotic trader took this profit just a couple
Ac-
minutes ago.
Actually, that's true. When you first showed that, all 4 were red, and it did change.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They're changing. And I
Yeah.
can click on the click on the plus, and it actually shows you where it was gonna, it was, you know, that one just closed up 3.6%. And now it's telling me my next buy is going to be at 0.026 and the current 0261 and the current price is 0269. So it's got to drop 3% before it buys more. It's going to have to drop to buy more. However, there's a rule in there that says it's got to wait an hour before it buys more. Little timers, because the crypto market, when I turned on the crypto trader in April of 21, the first thing I said is, first I said, oh my God, I'm done with stocks. The next thing I said is, oh my God, I got to do something to slow this thing down because the numbers are flying all over the place like crazy. Slow down. Let the market breathe. I learned that. I learned that you got to let the market breathe because it moves. Let it move down for an hour. You know what? That little 3%, it might want to drop 19% in the next hour. Let it breathe. Don't feel like you have to control every minute of the market. You know, too many people feel like they got to control the market. It's like, don't worry about it, man.
Right.
Just relax and
Yeah.
let the market give you
Mayo,
money.
Mayo makes a comment. Yes, it's changed. When we started, it was 899,000. Now, as it sits, it's 901, 918.25. So it's
Almost
5 and it's
902.
moving. Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
moving.
It was
For sure,
902 2 seconds ago.
for sure the market's moving.
So Robert says, is this bot? So I challenge it. Yes, some people call it a bot. It's a complete money management system, enhanced with AI, smarter than anything that exists. But is this bot using machine learning systems? How does it work? Great question.
Right, the way it works. All right, here, I'll bring it up. The way it works, the way the AI works, and that's what you're talking about with machine learning. Open a new link. This takes, Attila knows, it takes 12 seconds. I've heard him say it.
That's right.
All right, the rules over here. It's only one page of settings. Enable AI. Enable or disable. I don't let anybody disable the AI. Some people, there is a faction of people that will go there and put their hand over all the names and just come in here and start changing numbers without even looking. Don't ask me why. I'm a programmer, not a therapist. But I disable the ability to disable the AI. There's no way that AI can harm you. So I refuse to let anybody turn that off. And the way it works is when the coin is profitable, and the software says, I want to sell it now and take that profit. It calls the AI. And if the AI says that it's going to go higher in the next 20 minutes, see, it can't tell you what it's going to do longer term, maybe 30 minutes at best. It really can't predict like what it's going to do tomorrow. So, but if it predicts that it's going to go higher in the next 20 minutes, then the software will hold off and wait to take that trade. And I didn't show you on here the trades. You see this add to position rule, put an AI at the end of it, as opposed to the one right below it did not. So the AI means that it was going lower and then it called AI and AI said, hold on, it's going to go lower in the next few minutes. So the software held off on buying more. And if you scroll down, I mean, you can find, like right here, profit goal reached AI. So it's the same thing on the way up. If it thinks it's going to go higher, if the AI says it's going to go higher, then it'll wait and let the price go higher before it sells it and takes the profits. So that's how it works. Plus, because the cryptos move around so much, this is only in cryptos, not in the stock trader. I tell it, don't buy more than 2 lots in a day. That means if a coin's going down and it buys it, and then it goes down again and it buys it, that's 2 lots. It says, I'm done for the day. But if it's going up and down, I can buy and sell that 20 times. There's no rule for that. But if it's accumulating lots, it stops after 2. Because the coin might want to drop 20%. I'm not going to go buy like a crazy person. Because the crypto market will do that.
Right.
And then I put a 1 hour or 60-minute pauses between the buys. Because when it goes down and I buy it, and when I say I mean the trader buys it, then it's going to wait 60 minutes before it buys again, even if it goes lower. Let it breathe. That's what I was trying to tell you. Let the market breathe. It might want to drop 80% in the next hour. Let it go.
Yep. And to Vera's comment, if Vera, if you're still with us, this is one of the risk mitigators of the market. She asked the question about what happens, what's happened, does it keep buying, in a market that's been down 60% over the last 3 or 4 or 5 months, right? It's got measured parameters, so it is collecting smart
It
inventory.
could keep buying.
Right.
But you're also limiting it down here at the bottom. I mean, the default setting, let me get this out of the way. Your default setting when you start up is 25 lots deep. That is a 75% trading window. You see, when other people, if you look at other systems, they're all want to brag how much when they buy a coin, it goes up. When they buy a coin, it goes up. I never say that because I can put my money on 00 in a roulette wheel and have it hit it. That doesn't mean anything. That just means I got lucky. What I say is when I buy a coin, it's going to go down. I expect it to go down. And actually, I want it to go down so I can accumulate more inventory at lower prices. So this is a 75% trading window. You're going to trade in perpetuity inside that 75% drop. And if it goes down further, you can always raise it. Say I raise it to 30, watch, that 75% trading window, it becomes a 90% trading window. I extended the window. I'll extend it if it goes there. And it actually went there in my case from 3 years ago. Like Alchemy Pay went from 12 cents all the way down to 1.5 cents. You'd have thought I was getting killed, but instead I was taking a fortune off the table. Because once it got down here to 1.5 cents, I really had it trapped. Because then it was either you going out of business or you're going to raise that price. And when you do, I got you. Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell.
What
I mean,
did you say?
right where they're at.
It's diabolical and you need to be stopped.
I need to be, well, I feel like somebody's gotta stop me.
So
But I'm
Messi
money
says,
out of the market.
Messi says, could you please cover in depth the BTC DCA with GTB only for the VIPs. So Casey, I know you asked that question a while ago and demonstrated it on your video. We've had some very positive comments about that. So
I mean, I have BTC. If I put BTC in here, you know, I can have it traded. And so that would be the starting point. And I can tell you what's going to happen. If Bitcoin is going down, 3% drops. See, this isn't your traditional dollar cost average where every week you throw $100 in it, because you're throwing it in all over the place, all wrong.
Right.
You're accumulating shares at the wrong prices. With this one, it's going to add on 3% drops. However, if it goes up, you don't want to be out of the game. You want to continue dollar cost averaging as the price goes higher. So if it goes, say it goes up 7% and then pulls back 3%, it'll buy more there. I call that filling the gap. So you're always adding to it, but you're adding to it intelligently. And the software just does that.
right. Well, and I would have never thought about that.
It's automatic. It's so easy.
I would have never thought of that as a strategy using this. I mean, when I got my trader, it just simply makes money, but only through Crypto Casey's brilliance of asking the question even before she did it months ago. Can I use this as a dollar cost averaging? And if I do, how does it work? Well, you just got the explanation. It's the smartest way, I think, on the planet or available to be able to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to just be throwing $100 in every month. You got it all out of whack. You're not really doing dollar cost averaging, you know, if you're just throwing money in randomly every month, because then you're all over you're putting your money in all over. You're over what I call overweighted, because what if you end up putting all your money in at the top? You know, because it stayed up there. And then what happens when it drops down here and you don't have any money to add down here, any more money?
Right.
And, you know, and if you added another 100 down here, that wouldn't be much of a dollar cost average when most of your money's in up here. You're way overweighted up here. And the software makes sure that you never get overweighted.
Particularly when Bitcoin's going to be $1 million. So Russell has got a great statement. Thank you for your input and a question. So Russell says, after 30 days with GoBabyTrade, I've almost paid off the trader. Now, not my business, what you started with, but that's great news. I'm assuming you didn't put $1 billion in, right? So thank you for sharing that.
He might have.
Might, right. So he also says, with 20, here's where you're going to get in trouble, Russell. I'll let Ed answer this one. With $25,000 or $30,000, can I change the setting? Take this amount to 200,000. I'm going to tell you as the novice, not the programmer.
You could turn that off if you wanted to.
Right.
This right here. Take this amount if reached.
No.
Really,
I
think that's what he's talking about.
With 25 or 30K, can I change the setting? Take this amount to $200. Sorry. I saw a comment.
Well, if you do that, I wouldn't do it. You know, if you set it to, well, it's at 100, you probably should do it anyways.
Right. So I thought the question was 200,000. It's $200. I saw an extra.
You're probably seeing something happen here that, watch. You're probably seeing, let me see.
Patrick says I'm dollar cost averaging XRP and BTC at 5%.
While you're looking for that, Ed, I have to make a comment. One of our VIP guests this afternoon is already trying to purchase the trader. And once in a while, when you put in for the purchase, your bank is going to question that and send you a text or an email because it's a larger purchase. She got that and it shows as an error. So all you need to do is make sure you always check your phone. They're asking for a verification. They're going to say, if you requested this charge to buy this item, hit 1. If not, hit 2, that kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, if it's not on your text, it might be on your email.
Or
Okay,
you can call them. I just
or you can
turned,
call
you
your
know,
bank. Yeah,
I've never personally, I've never used,
yeah,
you know, I've never checked that stuff. When I was buying expensive stuff, I would just turn over the credit card and call the number on the back.
yeah. That's just
And
a
they would just,
FYI.
and they would confirm it, and and then you would just rerun it.
Okay, go
And
ahead.
if you
Did you
still
find?
can't get it to go through, send email to support@gobabytrade.com, and I'll
Correct.
change the processor, because that may be a problem with the processor.
There we go.
Yep.
Just
Hand in hand
refresh your
service.
screen each time you try. But here's the issue. Take this amount if reached. You see, now if you had that at $200, there's a good chance you're gonna hit that a lot easily. I mean, I had to raise it to 1,000 because it was just hitting too many times.
Yeah, there's no downside to raising that number, correct?
Yeah. Some people set it at 100,000, and that means they really don't want to use it. And that means on the 3% moves, it's going to take the profits.
Right.
But luckily for you, the market, like I said, moves in spurts. It doesn't just, it's not like the stock market where it inches its way up like that. You know, the crypto market will go bip and be up 8%.
Well, Jerry's got a great comment. Jerry's joined us. Jerry Ray, that is. Sorry, has joined us. This is the third time attending. By far, all capitals, yelling at us. Not yelling at us, been good. This has been the
Scolding.
most informative session of the three. So that's why. Thank you for that. I think that's a compliment. So with the idea that we always make it open, the link that you use to register and join today is the one that you can use, you know, anytime you want to join us, and that's why people do. You know, we try and mix it up. We don't always get the privilege of Crypto Casey joining us, but you know, to see her in the wild more than 3 times in 4 years, that's a privilege in itself. So please join us anytime.
It is a pleasure.
Anytime you wish.
Always. Thanks for having me.
Look at, I'm sorry, Casey.
Oh, I just said thanks.
Oh, it's cool. Thank you.
Edward, next question.
Look at Alchemy
Yes.
Pay, up 2.94. See, it's moving. It was negative earlier.
Right. Right. Robert says, can you share performance results and display statistics? This came in relatively early, so a lot of it may have been answered, but e.g., win rates, profit and loss ratio for each coin the bot works with. So,
You know, I don't play around like that. What I look at is, this is how much I've got open positions, and this is how much profits I've taken. And it's really up to the market. Like when the market started, when I turned this trader on in October or December of 21, the market started. Let me get my trusty smart water bottle. The market started this massive crash. If you go back to October of 21, when the crypto winter started, man, it started going down hard. And then it took a year, because even though we were taking profits, there wasn't a lot of wiggles. It was straight down, some of you may remember. And then people started calling me about a year later. They said, Ed, look at my closed positions. And that's when we discovered the closed positions overtook the inventory that we were down. All that drop was overtaken because of the profits we were taking on the wiggles, because the wiggles just keep adding up.
yep.
And then there was really no looking back. And look at this one here. We were getting hammered, man. And I mean, just look at GRT. In the last 6 weeks, it dropped 60%. I mean, I can tell you the prices, man. I can just look at these. I have them, in my brain. GRT was like 17 cents just a couple months ago. And now it's at 9 cents. You'd think I'm getting hammered. It got cut in half. Shiba Inu was at 0.22, 0.22. And then it went all the way down to 0.11 just a week ago. And I was telling everybody, don't worry, it's going to go back. And it's already at 0.135. or 0.0000135. I'm not worried about these coins in the least. And when they bounce up like that, these profits keep adding up. This guy went net positive already. Even though I'm down 172,000, I've taken 181,000 in profits. That's just gold, man.
Yep.
So I'm already net profitable. That's what this one number here is. You know, it just subtracts the difference between those two. And
Yep.
and I'm not worried about this one either. You know, we're down 288 on the inventory. I've taken 226. But like I said, this number keeps getting bigger and bigger. And all they can do is, what are they going to do with this one? This one just goes up and down for the rest of my life. There's
Yep.
no
So
way they can stop me.
Jerry says, and I'm going to start from the end of the statement or question. This question, well, this is the only question that is important. So the question is, what is the historical average yield over any time scale using the default options on the software? So I'm going to answer it this way. I'm going to answer it this way, and then you can answer it, Ed, because we're looking at your account. Is that you can't really measure it on a time scale other than what you're seeing on the screen, right? And as Mr. Bartolo first talked about it, in the first year after he bought it, it was simply down, down, down. So collecting all inventory. So generally, I would think that in the first year, probably not much of a return. Certainly, probably more in profits taken than you would have in the bank. But when you look at over the time, if you talk about a time scale, any time scale, the 3 years and several months that this account has been open with $200,000, it's taken $908,000 and for 9,840 9,008 $445 in profit. So I mean, I think if you slice and dice that by the time since this account started, you're looking at triple digit returns. And even if you made half of that,
the thing is, this is where, you know, I feel like a lot of people miss out, is because they want instant returns. They don't realize it's the market behavior that matters, and prepping for what happens when things go down. This isn't a gambling system. If the coins are going down, they're going down. But the software is prepping you for the wiggles. So when it goes lower, it's prepping you. And this is why so many people lose so money in the crypto market, is because they don't get that. They don't understand that you're just going to keep taking profits forever. If I just keep taking profits like this forever, that number is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Yep. I don't do the traditional reporting like I know you're looking for, maybe. I mean, you can put that in Excel if you want and generate some kind of reports. Some people do. But to me, the market is just, it's random. So this isn't a hedge fund, you know what I mean? Or what would you call it? A mutual fund, or not even that?
This isn't a casino.
Well, no, definitely not. But no, this isn't like a bond that says, all right, this is a 6% or a 12% bond, and it's gonna pay this much after 3 years or whatever. It's not like that. The crypto market's the Wild West. I mean, these numbers, we're talking. I'll tell you what the wealthy are doing. They're looking for 1,000 times returns. They're not looking for 10% or 50% returns. They're looking for the mother of all paydays. This is the big one. So if you miss, as Attila says, if you miss the tech revolution, if you miss the internet revolution, this is it. The crypto revolution is so much bigger, so much crazy bigger. It affects the entire world. And I mean, Attila can say it better. And I watched them, what they did in the 2008 crash. You know, the market crashed, the housing, or like the bank stocks went down to $1. And what did Joe Public do? They sold out at a big loss, and the wealthy loaded up at $1 a share. And then they rocketed those prices to $50. And they took that beautiful profit of 50 times return. This is going to be, you're talking with the crypto market, you're talking 1,000 times return. So what's beautiful is while we're waiting for that big move in the crypto market, we're still taking crazy money anyways.
Yep.
So it's
Well,
like
Ed,
we're taking free money waiting for the rally. I mean, I haven't seen the rally. We've been in a down market for 3 years, but nobody's going to scare me out. There's no reason to. I'm still making money in a down market.
and Ed, the reason that was that this is much bigger than the internet revolution, because the internet revolution was about moving information over the internet. This here is moving money over the internet. So when we're talking about changing the entire money and financial structures of the world globally, nothing is bigger than that. And we're at the forefront. Imagine how fortunate we all are to be at the forefront of a digital money revolution with this kind of technology we could put to work. We're not saying this is the only platform you should have, or this should be your only strategy. But if this is not part of your strategy, you got to scratch your head and think hard about, what am I doing? I mean, it does it for you. You don't have to do anything. And it's proven.
Anybody who has
5
watched
years.
anybody who has watched Moneyball knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, I've watched it. Yeah. Okay, so let's finish
Sure.
up.
If you haven't watched Moneyball, watch it.
Good movie.
Right.
When Patrick says, "Hey Patrick, how you doing?" When Ed says, I'm sorry, when Ed started trading on 12/19/21, what percent of profits saved were set versus now, and for how long?
All right, I had it set to 2% moves, okay, because the market was going down, and we weren't getting very many today's moves. They weren't big. Actually, they were looking like right now. They were kind of junky. So it was set to 2% moves. And then around, I think, November, I noticed the market was really picking up, and you can do your history, your research. We were getting bigger moves every day. And so I actually changed it to 3%, which is what my trader is set to now. And I sent email to everyone. And I said, hey, everybody, I mean, of course you can do what you want, but I said, I'm changing my settings to 3% profit goals. I can show you here, profit goal, 3%. And then I said, add to position, change it to 3% also.
Mhm.
Sent that out to every client. And then I changed the default strategy. When a new client signs up, it's automatically there.
At
Sent
3%.
that out to everyone.
Right.
And I even told everyone at the bottom of the email, if you want me to change your trader to those settings to raise it to 3%, let me know, because I can do it directly in the database like that.
Yep.
Just reply to this email.
Patrick has a clarification, not percentage on moves, the profit saved versus taken. So I don't think you touched on the managed profit pieces. I think
that was always set to 100%.
Save 100%.
Save 100% of your profits.
Got it.
I debated that with my wife for a year. So when I
But-
first
and she was right?
yeah. Because the first year I wasn't saving any profits. I had it, my managed profits right here, down here. I had it set to open link and new tab. I like the new tabs. I had it set to save 0. Just like that. Oh,
And I can attest to that because I also did 0 for a couple months. And, whenever you're in positions in crypto and everything's falling, it's not a good strategy.
Yeah, don't catch
Yeah,
me
you're
falling
throwing
back.
your money into a black hole, right?
You kind of are. But what's funny is like I did that just I wanted to test and stretch and kind of figure out what is interesting, what's interesting, maybe not interesting, and that is not interesting.
Right.
Well,
Right.
but you, as you've said before, Ed, if you set it to save 100%, no matter what market you're in, well, we'll talk about reality, right?
Well,
Reality, or our place in reality is the fact that it's been a down market since you started this. Now, your idea, and you've shared this many times, is that you set it to save 100% of the profits, but you don't touch them, right? You got $112,000.
yeah, they let it build up.
Right?
A lot of people have a lot of money in their
Right.
save bucket.
So as the market turns up, when you start seeing a positive, right, instead of buying all the way down, you have a big lump sum of money to release back to the trader to start buying positions
Here,
in a
I
bull
could
market.
release 100,000 to the trader. Now the trader has more money.
Yeah, I
but
didn't
I'm gonna
realize
do
that was
that.
the thing. That's crazy.
Right. Yep. So well, you learned something new. It's not.
I'm gonna
it's
do
not-
that.
it-
I'm gonna
it-
do that in an up market. When the market
Right.
turns up, I'm gonna release some of the money.
So
Right
did
now,
you catch?
put it
Did you
back.
catch that, Ed? It's not every day you teach Crypto Casey something.
Yeah, what? This
She
is
said
not
she-
very intuitive. I don't like this user interface situation that we just saw.
So, well, but he's created a video to show you
Okay,
every
there we
page
go.
and every function, as you can see, view video.
I would have never put a negative. I would have.
Oh yeah,
never
negative
done
numbers.
that ever.
Subtract like a check register.
Right.
Yeah,
You know, I have a video
it's
right
even-
here. I could click it, but it does not look as nice as Crypto Casey's, so I'm not. My videos are
So
not
let me make two clarifications. As Crypto Casey says, it's not the Fed Reserve firing up the money machine. It's real money. When it takes the profits, all it does is those profits are sitting in your Coinbase or Kraken account. It's just telling the trader not to touch it. So the money is there.
Right.
And the exercise we just went through
That was like some QuickBooks user interface, which is
no
not
that's
intuitive.
that is absolute Fed math. Right.
I always say, once you start thinking like me, you'll be all right.
All right, guys,
That can be a long time.
we gotta, for the sake of time,
Yep.
we've got to finish up the questions. Let me cover the next one, Edward, because
Yep.
Jessica has a question that is a little bit of a misunderstanding sometimes. And it's an innocent question, but it's a good one. Will anything happen to our profits if we don't take it out, even though you have it saved to 100%? Well, guess what? Your profits are not physically sitting on the trader. Your money is always in your exchange. It's just that the trader is the one that shows you how much you have saved. But the money is actually in Coinbase or Kraken on the exchange. There's no physical monies that could be handled by the trader. Okay, so I hope that's clear.
Yeah. So yeah, just to put a pin on it, is that if you tell it to save everything that's in the save bucket is sitting in the trader, but you're telling the trader not to use those profits until unless at which time you decide to release it to the trader.
Yeah, when a software is getting ready to make a trade, it looks at your cash, your USD or USDC, and then it subtracts out the amount that you said to save, and then it has the balance is what it uses in its calculations.
Right.
Ed,
But the actual money is in Coinbase.
Right.
Edward, you want to get that last question by Freddie?
Yep. Ed, what's the difference in the amount of the trades that occur normally by changing the percentage from 1% to 3% to 5% question marks over the same market zigzagging?
Well, I wouldn't. I have no idea. I mean, whatever they are, they are. I don't go. I mean, when you're running an auto trader and you have your settings set, then that's what the auto trader's running with. It's not looking back at and to say, what if it was one? Then
so you've kind of addressed this question before. Let me approach it a different way. So I think the logic is that the higher you set the percentage goal, the theoretically the lower number of trades that it's going to take advantage of, right? You've tried it at 1%. You've tried
Oh
it
yeah,
at
there's danger. Danger, Will Robinson.
because you're going to miss all the trades.
Yeah, if you go back to your history, if you think about it, say I set that to 5%, my profit goal, to take 5% moves. If I click on this plus, it expands it, and I can see all my lots. Well, I wouldn't have taken that profit because it only went up 3.6%. That's how much it went up, the 3% plus fees. So it took it at 3.6%. If I had a profit goal of 5%, I wouldn't have made that $317. So you don't want to put that number too high. Some people have asked, why don't I set the profit goal to 10%? Well, you're going to miss a lot of trades because the coins are sitting over here moving in 3% moves.
Right.
So you're going to miss a lot of trades. So you don't want to set it too high and you don't want to set it too low. Like I've seen some people set it at 1% profit goal. The problem is then all you're doing is sharing all your profits with the exchange. Because of their fees, you're just giving half your money to them. Why should you put all that money up and share all your profits with them?
Right.
Yeah.
Good point.
And you're gonna get out a lot earlier because when the coin does jump 3%, I mean, you're not gonna be, you might get out at 1%.
Yep. It's not uncommon as I've observed not only in the simulated trader that I showed you, but in my own trader and just watching the prices is that some of these moves are pretty violent. We go through a day where there's like today, 1 or 2% in either direction, but then there are some days that they're 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, like your example of ACH. Yeah, and you've tested it. You've tested it at the different levels, and it seems as though the optimal level in this market condition is 3%.
Yeah, right now.
Yep. Let's see. That answers the question. Thank you. Good. I like it when we're sort of on point. So with that,
Look at all this action here. Look at all this ACH action.
Yep.
In the last few days, it's beautiful. Like I said, I'll trade ACH till I die.
Okay, so
Very good.
Edward, I mean,
Yes.
why don't we go into your example slide at the end and then
Yep.
we'll wrap things up. We've had a lot of thank you for all the great questions, everybody. There's some really good ones today.
Yep. And sorry we blew our expectations. We're 2 hours and going on 45 minutes into it. But thank you. Those, some were not able to stay with us. It's very engaging when people are asking questions and they're brilliant questions. They're very educated questions, and the more you learn, the more you know. So with that,
Crypto Casey's here. Why are we leaving so early?
Well, wait a minute. We're not leaving just yet, but she's got things to do. How's she going to cut the next video?
Yeah.
I'm working on it right now.
That's funny. All right, so, sorry about that. My other screen popped up since we've been chatting. I've had 3 profits. So let's look at this for just a second. Yeah, the last two in the last 15 minutes. So, nope, that's me. That was me. So let me just share the correct screen. All right. So can everybody see my screen now?
No.
Yeah, I see RCT market.
Oh, now I do. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, a little slow in switching. So I've created this example. We've talked about it. A lot of people have asked the question about returns and so on and so forth. So what I did was I took Ed's account as an example over the period of time, which has literally returned triple digits. It's not a fake account. It's not an imaginary account. He has multiple accounts. All are performing at or above those levels. But we took a little bit more conservative approach. So if you were to take advantage of the trader at $3,499 and your starting balance was $5,000, your net profit is after a 3-year period, you're looking at a net profit after the cost of the trader of $8,300. And by the way, I said conservative. This is half the number of what has actually happened over the last year. So from here, you can do your own interpretations, but let's look a little bit further over time. Let's say if you renewed, which somebody had a great question about, okay, at the end of the 3 years, am I going to have to pay $1 billion to renew my trader? No, I believe that Mr. Barsano is okay with, if you're in for life. It will renew it every 3 years at the same price. So if you did that over that cycle, you're looking at it at a gross at 50, only 50%. And this is not taking any money out. This is really just an example. No inference of return, but just simple numbers. Minus the 5,000, minus the 2 licenses, your opportunity cost, if you don't have the trader, would be almost $45,000. Now, over a 9-year period, the numbers just keep getting bigger. And why? Again, Ed said multiple times, if you're making money like this, why would you ever quit? Right? So the only exception is you're at the 9-year mark, you're buying another trader, right? But your missed opportunity cost for doing absolutely nothing, starting with $5,000. Now, some people start with 1,000, some people start with 50, some people start with more. But 5,000 as an example, the lost opportunity cost is 175,000 plus. Like I said, here's where I got the number from. You divide it by the day. It's less than a half a cup of Starbucks coffee to make to potentially make 100% on your money in your sleep. Now, that number against this number, if you only made 50% over the year, we gave real live. Actually, we didn't give people in the chat gave us real lives of examples. You know, one gentleman said that he's almost paid for the trader in a month, right? Or your choices are do or don't, right? This is really an educational environment to show you what the possibility is. Again, ask yourself the question, how much work do you have to do? Does it work? Is it real? And can I do it? Not only that, if you put your money somewhere else, to go back to Mr. Hefesy's comment, if it's unemployed, it's unemployed. Real inflation and deflationary valuation, every time they print money, you're losing 15 to 25% on your money a year doing nothing, leaving it unemployed. Do something with it. Do your research. We gave you all of these tools. Do your research. You can go to the link that we posted a couple of times. If you want to post it again, I'll do that. And it takes you to the front page. You can look at the reports. You can look at the trading. You can look at what the average returns. There's sample accounts in there that are randomly pulled, the 50 top accounts. And you can see what people are doing and even see what they're trading. So awesome. I don't know what else to say.
Great job. Great job. Thank you for that example. And folks, we're here every Wednesday, and we do this for you on behalf of Crypto Casey. Like I said, we're the support system for her and the educational portion of her backbone in this venture. And Casey, do you have any parting words for your peeps?
I'll see you on the next video. Be safe out there.
No, that's your standard exit. It's got to be something special.
It has to be something special. You know, I was actually looking at a bunch of Twitter stuff, you know, like the sell in May, go away. I think we should just let the trader trade.
There we go.
Right.
I like that.
That's great.
I like that.
It makes money without emotion. Yeah. It makes money in your sleep.
And that makes money.
Yeah. So,
and what about
and this segment sponsored by Smartwater. So 2 of the smartest people on the planet that I know, Crypto Casey, it is always a privilege. Always a privilege. If you want to jump in anytime, I was so jazzed to get the call from you that said, hey, I just figured this thing out. I've shared this stuff. Can I be on Wednesday? Yes, this is your show.
You can jump in the middle of a webinar.
You can tell we all slightly geek out over you, as does your supporters. So, Mr. Barsano, it's always a pleasure to see you. I learn something new every single time. Every single time.
Good for Wednesdays.
Awesome. Yes. Awesome. Well, we'll see everybody next week if you're going to come on again. And don't forget, we put in the chat Crypto Casey's special link with the $1,000 discount. Any questions? You have 2 emails you could email. So with that, have a great week, rest of your week and weekend. and go forth and multiply your money with the trader.
Go, right. Go forth and multiply. That's awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Take care,
Appreciate you
folks.
very much.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye now.
Thank you.